most notable match that we're going to be enjoying tonight is going to be Carmelo Hayes taking on Dominik Mysterio. So we've got that match coming up. As well as that, we've got a few Heritage Cup Invitational matches. We're actually going to be seeing Tyler Bate take on Pete Dunne, Butch, which should be a banger. The only problem is that it's Butch and it doesn't quite feel the same, and we have seen them before. But, I mean, look, if they get time to cook, if they get time to do what they do best, that match could bang, man. That match could really bang. So Tyler Bate against Butch could be a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun. So we've got that tonight. We've got Carmelo versus Dominik. We've also got Roxanne Perez taking on Lola Vice. And then I believe there is one more match that's slipping my mind. Joe Coffey versus Duke Hudson. Boom, just came into my head. So that's what I've seen for the official preview for this show. Those are the matches that are on the official preview. Obviously, there's going to be more than that. But those are the key matches as we head towards NXT. And we know as well that Becky's going to be on this show this week. She said last night on Raw that she was going to be on this show. I've actually been out a bit today. So just to fill you in on what I've done today so that people know where my head's at, I obviously did the Raw stream. Straight after the Raw stream, I uploaded a reaction video. I uploaded the one to Jay turning down the Judgment Day. I thought it was pretty fun. Although, to be honest, I think a few people got upset because I think there's a few Jey Uso fans out there that wanted Jay to win that main event match. So when I was like laughing at like his misfortune, I think that upset a few people, which get over it. But to be honest, I was laughing more at the fact that he had made that decision, super kicked the Judgment Day, right? Had stood up for himself and then flipping got caught. Like, that's sod's law, isn't it? You do the right thing, you stand up for yourself, and then, like, you know, you get caught and, oh my God, now I'm dead. Now I've lost the match. So that's where my humor was coming from. Not so much that Jay had lost the match, but I don't care that Jay lost the match either. I am into Drew being a heel, taking that opportunity, not going back to the ring, all of that stuff I thought was really good last night. So, yeah, so I did that. I did the reaction video. Then I did the recap video, which big shout out to everyone that's enjoyed that. Getting some really good feedback on those since we've started to use the actual footage. So it does take a little bit of time to put together, but I like them as well. So, yeah, we did that. And then I was like, oh, do I go to bed? What shall I do? I was doing a few graphic things. And then for some reason, What Culture really early put up their ups and downs. So I was like, brilliant. I can do the video now and not like go to bed, get up and do it. So I ended up then going and recording that. By the time I went to bed, it was like well past lunchtime here in the UK. Went to bed, got up, went straight to the pub to have something to eat, have a drink, something to eat. Came back and then just done the Wrestling Escape pod. So my head is a little bit all over the place, to be honest. Not because we've been in the pub, but more because I haven't sat down and actually read anything today. I haven't had time to sit down and like look at the news. So I don't know where we are with ratings. I don't know where the drama is. I did have a quick look to see if there was any big story, you know, where you just put WWE into Google and kind of see what comes back. But I didn't see any big story. So I don't think there's anything massive that's gone down. But here we go. Let's have a little read of this. 45 minutes ago says WWE Raw hit a new record low. Come on! A new record for WWE. Yeah! Triple H just slaying them records. Boom! Boom! Record after records. I wonder why they're not shouting about these ones on the show. You know, they love to talk about like 100 million social media views for The Rock and all of that stuff. This is another record here. WWE, come on. So WWE Raw hit a new record. Low audience against 2 NFL games. although the P18 to 49 rating was up from last week, key demo, Raw averaged 1.331, which is down 2% from last week, with a 0.44. So 18 to 49 rating is the fourth lowest this year. Raw had stiff competition going up against two NFL games, which will also be the case next week and for the rest of the season. Lol. Year on year, Raw was down 16%, while the 18 to 49 rating was down 2%. Well, I mean, what do you say? It's not a surprise, is it? I ain't surprised. I'm sure you ain't surprised. There was really nothing on that show. And we said whilst we were watching it, what is there on this show that makes it feel like they were desperately trying to change the number from the week before? Like, where in the show was the panic response? Where was it in the show that it looked like they were like, oh my God, we can't have another 1.3? There was nothing on the show that made it feel like they were trying to turn that ship around. You can't tell me that booking Kofi versus Ivar is going to turn the ship around, or Shayna and Zoe against Chelsea and Piper Niven. I mean, even the main event is like Drew, who's, he's pretty cold at the moment, It's a long way since he was challenging for the title at Clash at the Castle. This is a guy that struggled to win the Intercontinental Championship and has kind of just been bobbing around. He's taken on Jey Uso, who, got a little bit of star power, but Jey ain't no Roman Reigns, right? So that was our main event. And, you look at it and you go, I don't see the response here. I sort of think that they have just either carried on telling the story they want to tell, and have just accepted that it's going to be a bit rubbish at the moment, right? Or they are putting plans in place, but they just haven't kicked in yet, and we're actually going to do something a little further down the road. Either way, not a great number, but, I've said it before. I said it for AEW, and I'll say it for WWE as well. I think ratings are hard. They're hard. It's not easy. It's hard. And I think you can put on a good product. I thought that the show this week was okay. It was okay. Gave it like a 6.5. I thought it was okay. I think it could be better. I don't know that it's essential. It's certainly not essential viewing at the moment. You could do better. You could do more. But even if you did, you still might only get 1.5. Do you know what I mean? Even if you put on a banging show, you still might not be getting to 1.7 at the moment. It's hard. It's hard out there. I feel sorry for them. But also, I think as wrestling fans that want the best entertainment possible, I think you can look at some of the recent output and just go, doesn't feel quite as essential. Bloodline's clearly not as essential viewing as it was this time last year when we had Sammy and Usi and, honorary use and all of that stuff. They struck gold with that. Problem is, if you strike gold, it's very hard to do it again the next year. And they are kind of finding that out, unfortunately. So, yeah, it is what it is. Record low, disappointing, but we move on. I want to get into the chat and see where the chat's heads are at. Defcon Prime Pirate King Jack, shout out to you. Said NXT talent is helping fill an hour of time for Raw. What is your opinion on that? It's good for NXT, but WWE has the roster size instead. No. Do you know what? We kind of touched on it on the Wrestling Escape Pods, and I don't think we really reached a conclusion. Triple T said that he thought it was okay because in AEW there's even more belts that are on their main roster. And in WWE, there's, still a fair few belts that are around, but not to the point where he deems it to be a problem. And in all fairness, AEW don't have a 3-hour show. So 3 hours of Raw, trying to fill that with an open challenge. What I would say is I think it's fine to do it for one belt and to highlight one division. I think if you have Becky defend that title on Raw and do an open challenge and maybe bring out some NXT women, and showcase them on Raw, I think that's absolutely fine. I think it's fine. I think it's good because I think you're promoting NXT, which is a brand that needs some help. So, needs a boost. So I think that I don't really have a problem with that. I think where, for me, it becomes a little bit OTT is like next week we've got Dragon Lee against Dominik Mysterio. This week we had Becky defending the women's title. You could say that it's just one segment. You could say, but it's not, is it? Because this week we had Becky defending an open challenge. And then there was like a Dragon Lee backstage little thing as well with Dominik to set up next week. So it does eat a little bit more than just a segment. And I don't know, is that a bit too much to dedicate to NXT? Is that a bit too much time? I don't think that's the reason why the rating is where it is, though. I think you could still have your cake and eat it. You could still deliver a big rating on Raw and have a bit of time dedicated to NXT. So I don't mind using a bit of Raw time to promote NXT. I really don't mind that. But I think that you've got to be very careful that you're not flooding the main roster with NXT talent and NXT titles. And, I don't want to see this become what it is in AEW, where wrestlers are coming to the ring and they're carrying Ring of Honor titles. You might see 2 or 3 different Ring of Honor titles on the same 2-hour show. I don't want to see that. I want to see, just keep it to one title. And what I would say is, we got Becky this week. I think we have Dominik out there. Yeah, we had Dominik, didn't we? So Dominik came out with the North American title as well. I really would try and limit it to just one belt. I'd try and limit it to one title, put a showcase on NXT and on that specific division, rather than everyone's walking around with a flipping belt. So for me, maybe a little OTT. I'm not someone, I really don't believe I have double standards. I'm not going to sit here and say that AEW has got too many belts on their show because of Ring of Honor, right? I think the belts they've got is all right. It's probably all right. But once you add the Ring of Honor belts, I think it's too many. I'm not going to sit here and say that and then just say that WWE are fine to have NXT titles on their main roster, because that would be a double standard. So for me, I think NXT, it's right to promote it. I think there is room on a 3-hour show to have a segment where you do an open challenge for the women's title or whatever. But I think you've really got to be careful to not just flood the main roster with those NXT titles. Could you imagine if Alba and Isla still had the NXT women's titles as well? So they would be on the main roster. Becky's now got the women's title. Dominik has got the North American title. It is starting to kind of go that AEW way. So something just to be aware of. But in no way is that the reason why we've got the rating we've got. In no way. For me, there's just a real lack of, you've got your biggest star, I would say, on Raw is Cody. What are you doing with Cody? What are you doing that people are going to want to tune in for? It would be a bit like having Hulk Hogan and having him faff around with the flipping, I don't know, Beverly Brothers or something, he's just faffing around with the head shrinkers or whatever. He's just not getting stuck into a really good feud with Andre the Giant or Macho Man or anything like that. No, we're not doing anything like that. Instead, we're faffing around down in the mid-card. There's just nothing good there for Cody, who I think's your biggest Raw star. I'd make the argument of what are we even doing with Sammy? I mean, Sammy and Kevin are just bickering over if Jay should have come over or not, I said on my review that whole segment could have been done backstage, and I still stand by it as well. I think that in-ring segment between Cody, Kevin, and Sammy just felt it was okay. I didn't hate it, but it was them just talking about Kevin saying, "Why did you bring Jay over?" And Cody responded by saying, "Well, look, he deserves a second chance. He's a great talent." And Kevin said, "Okay, well, I can't trust him, but I do trust you, and we'll see how it goes." And that's it, right? I mean, all of that could have been done in about a quarter of the time that it had, and it could have been done backstage. I thought playing that segment in ring just felt a bit fillery to me. And the show felt a bit fillery. You know, I mean, like Becky against Natalya, we know that wasn't the first option. We know that wasn't the first thing that they had in mind. They were going to do Tegan Knox, but even that wouldn't have really done anything for ratings. But this is where it's tricky. You can't do everything for ratings. There are going to be some occasions where you have to build stars. Like Tegan has got to get on TV at some point. Otherwise, what's the point in having her? So you can't do every segment for ratings. But yeah, I've got to admit, I mean, if someone had said, what do you think the rating will be? I'd be like 1.3. I expect 1.3. I don't see, if last week was 1.3, I don't see any reason why this would be different. So I can't say I'm too surprised by that result. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. It was an all right show. I'm certainly not like down on it, like hating on it or anything. I just think that you ain't going to have to look too hard to find segments that could have been better. That's the truth. So DEFCON Prime, Eric, Pirate, King Jack Plays, shout out to you. Terry said, Daze, who should have beaten Seth for the heavyweight championship? I'd love for it to be Shinsuke, but I don't think it will be. I think Shinsuke's been doing some really great work, been doing some really good stuff, but I don't think that he will sadly beat Seth. I think Seth is going to keep that title going. I think this is maybe a bump in the road. Seth could drop it to like a Gunther. Might be that Gunther loses the IC title soon and then gets it from Seth. And to be honest, there's so many people that could do with that title that you're not struggling for options as to who should get it. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one, but I would personally go with Shinsuke and give it to Shinsuke. Kirby said, last couple of years, this time of year, there were pay-per-views in between. Last couple of years, this time of year, there were pay-per-views in between. I mean, I have to have a look. You're saying there was a pay-per-view around this time. I saw actually there's 2 pay-per-views in November. There's one at the start, which I think is Crown Jewel. And then there's one at the end, which is Survivor Series in November. And then there is nothing in December, or nothing that's been announced. And I think they probably would have announced it by now and started selling tickets. So it does feel like there won't be a December pay-per-view again. I think Survivor Series, which is like November 25th or whatever, I think that's going to act as the end-of-year pay-per-view for this year. Big Time said, when SmackDown and NXT has been hitting rating highs all year and Raw is collapsing, Friday did 1.238 more viewers, nearly doubling Raw. Yeah, but they had The Rock. I mean, there's no way they would have done that number if they didn't have The Rock. And if you put The Rock on Raw, that would have done a much bigger number as well. I think as well, like the message has kind of got out to people about Bloodline is on Raw. And we've spoken a lot about viewing habits are like really important. This is why, you know, I think that we have some really interesting conversations on these streams. And I think like we see a lot of like the community coming back for each of the streams and sharing their thoughts, and we have conversations and blah, 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 blah. And I think that people can come onto these streams and sort of have an idea of what they're going to get, have an idea of what the tone's going to be like, what the conversation's going to be like, what the banter's going to be like. Like, you know, there's a bit of comfort in knowing what you're going to click on and what you're going to get. And I think that's what you get with, you know, your viewing habits. And I think that people have got into the habit of watching SmackDown because it's Bloodline and it's Roman and it seems to be the A show, right? And it has been for a while now. I'd say SmackDown's been the A show over Raw for a good few years now. And even though a few years might not seem like much, you've got to remember that every week there are new people coming into wrestling. Every single show, every show, there will be someone new watching wrestling for the very first time. And so a couple of years is actually quite a long period of time. It's the difference between watching when you're 12 and watching when you're 14, right? It's the difference between watching when you're 15 or when you're 17, right? Like you probably will have moved on to other things when you're 17 compared to when you were 15. So it is actually a good chunk of time. It is a decent period of time in the wrestling world. And so you've got to try and make sure that people are in the habit of watching both shows. I think people are in the habit of watching SmackDown. I think SmackDown is firmly established as the A show. I mean, only boosted by The Rock coming out there on Friday. And so I think Raw is now finding itself in a situation where its ratings have held, and they've held at 1.7, which, to be honest, I remember not that long ago it being it's funny because we're talking about 1.3 right now being a disaster. It really wasn't that long ago when we were having conversations about 1.9 being a disaster. And there was conversations of, does anyone remember Raw being under 2 million? I'm serious. I'm not joking or making this up. This was a few years back. There was conversations about, did you hear that Raw did a 1.9? It's the way it's going, man. 1.9. Yeah, people just aren't watching TV as much. 1.9 was like, wow, we've hit a new low, man. We've hit a new low. And it really was. It was like, it's like what 1.3 is now, 1.9 was a few years ago. And it's just funny how, like, the goalposts keep moving. Because we're all expecting there to be panic stations, and we're all expecting them to go, well, there's got to be a response. Like, you can't cope with the 1.3. But a few years ago, we were saying that about 1.9, and do you know what? We did cope with it, and it just kept going and sinking and dropping. And you know, WWE have obviously got a much broader idea as to how people are consuming their content. And as well as that, they've got a much better idea of what their future looks like. Who knows? The deal might be pretty much done for them to go to Amazon. Are they really going to give a flip about the final few shows for the rest of this year on USA Network if they've signed a deal with Amazon? Like, you know, they really, you know, they're probably thinking about launch episodes for Amazon. They're probably thinking, I'm not saying they're going to Amazon, by the way. I'm just giving you an example, right? We don't know where they're going to be moving to or what's going to be happening with their new TV deals. They've been working on that behind the scenes. There's probably a lot more going on than, well, let me correct myself. There's a lot more going on than we are aware of and that we are privy to or that's been reported. And so they'll have an idea as to what's going on, what they want to do. I think there's a lot that's happening at the moment behind the scenes. And I think that, well, we know 100 people got let go for starters. So I don't think that there's panic stations or anything like that. I think that it's a case of establish what we're going to look like next year, where we're going to be, and then start building a show and putting a show together accordingly. And so they could be looking that far into the future at the moment. But yeah, I think that, you know, SmackDown has been doing fairly well. I think that's been running off the fumes of the Bloodline and Roman. Roman went away. We then got John Cena. This past Friday, we went and got The Rock. We're not seeing any of that for Raw. Not seeing any of that for Raw. Not seeing any of that kind of panic or concern or quick, we need to go and get some big superstars. Maybe some of it is that Fox are just constantly on their case, whereas USA Network just aren't as much. And so they've got a bit more freedom. Maybe Fox pays a hell of a lot more money. And so as a result, they can spend a lot more money. Or they want to spend a lot more money. Like, yeah, we'll get The Rock. We can pay for The Rock because you're giving us X amount compared to USA that are only giving us X amount. You know, us as fans, we look at Raw and SmackDown as equal. Perhaps they're not. Perhaps they're not. Perhaps USA only pay X amount for Raw and Fox pay so much more for SmackDown. And as a result, they expect the ratings to be higher, which is why SmackDown gets so much more investment from a talent point of view. Tommy is mentally focused. He's trained triple as hard for KSI. I believe Tommy is ready, says Jarrett. Jim said Raw has been on so long. I'm positive the ratings are the least of their concern. Joe said, I think WWE Raw has been a lot better since Cody came back. Judgment Day, they are running the show a good team. Michael said, nice company taking the belt from a younger person to give it to Becky. Dean said, I want to thank you for giving some good shows. Dean, shout out to you. The actors strike happened. Cena and The Rock need a paycheck and they went running back to WWE, says Jim. Big Time said SmackDown is expected to move to Amazon whilst Raw stays on USA. Oh, have you seen, is there rumors doing the rounds, is there? And is Amazon really a viable situation? Like, I think I've heard that there are a few that are in for them, but I have not seen anything. Well, clearly no announcements, but I haven't seen any rumors either, to be honest. Hawkett, Mark, hello. Have you seen the pictures that Randy has been at the PC? I haven't. Hawkins said, I think that Bronson would be great in The Family with Tony and Stax as an enforcer. Yeah, that would work. I think there's a few things you can do with Bronson, but I could see that working, yeah. Off Tom said, who do you think Tommy Fury will face after he's done with KSI? I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. You're my favorite YouTuber. Off Tom, appreciate the kind words. It's tricky because Tommy always talks about wanting to be a real boxer and trying to be a champion and, you know, trying to work his way up through the rankings. And this is a real interesting one because he's obviously took a side quest. He's obviously been sidetracked as he's now really focusing on this kind of influencer world. What I would say is that the size of these promotions is a different experience, even if the quality of the opponents might not be the same level as you would find in real boxing. I still think that Jake was a test. I think Jake has got himself to the point where he is a decent little upcoming boxer. I mean, I don't think Jake would do any great shakes if you was to put him up against like a ranked fighter, top 30, top 20. I think he would, you know, be found out, if you will. I mean, he faced Tommy Fury, who isn't ranked, and he didn't win that fight, for example, right? So I think if you used to put him in there with, we're talking one of the best 20, like, you know, lightweights in the world or whatever, I think he would be in trouble. But I think that this is still a good level for Tommy to be competing at. And more than that, it's a big stage for Tommy to be competing at. So for me personally, I mean, it's very hard for Tommy because if he wants to go after titles and go into boxing, you probably need to go back to doing, you know, York Hall, which is kind of a path that you would go in the UK if you wanted to work your way to like a British title, a European title, a Commonwealth title, and then go on to like a world title. And York Hall is just a very small venue in London. It's iconic for boxing. Been some great fights there over the years, and up-and-coming boxers would fight there. And so he would probably end up going there on a card that would be, I mean, I don't even know how many times smaller than this upcoming Misfits card. But if he wants to go the proper boxing route, that's the route that he would go. If he wants to make money, then Floyd Mayweather, Nate Diaz, you know, all these kind of names would be out there for him. I mean, once he's finished with KSI and he could fight Logan. You know, he could do a fight against Logan. If Logan wins against Dylan Dennis, he could do a fight against Logan. And that would do big money. Logan trying to get revenge for KSI. I mean, that would do big money. The Floyd Mayweather fight would do big money. For me personally, though, I want to see him test himself. I want to see what Tommy can actually do. Rather than him like talking about these influencers stepping in up against a real boxer, I'd rather see him trying to push himself and see how far he can go. And to be honest, if he failed, it wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't like be throwing shade at him. I would just want to know how far he could go. I want to know if he can be British champion, Commonwealth champion. I don't think he can be world champion, but I want to know how far he can go. So I would like to see him go back into boxing. He's the brother of Tyson Fury. Like, the Fury family is a very proud family. They've got fighting in their blood. And I think that for him to like try and push himself, that would strike me as like a good path for him to take. But, you know, they're obviously motivated like all of us by money as well. And so he would also like to try and make as much of that. And you can do that by fighting Floyd and whatever. So he's in a real difficult situation. There's two very distinctive paths to go down. I would like to see him go down the one, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did go down the other. Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul, those kind of names. Joe says, everyone, I've been watching you for a year now. It's been an amazing roller coaster. Joe, shout out to you, buds. Yeah, man, there'll be ups, there'll be downs. There always will in the wacky world of wrestling, you know. I think we've spoken a lot about it recently, you know, when there's some great channels. I saw Wrestle with Andy around. He's got an amazing channel if you Don't need me to tell you. There's some really good stuff, really good content that's out there. I was just talking about Grimm's Toy Show as well on the Wrestling Escape Pods. Really love some of the new videos that Grimm's been putting out. And obviously, I do a podcast with Tommy Toy Travels. I was a big fan of his as well. So, yeah, there's some really good content out there. I think there's some good conversations to be had. There's some good products to be looking at. It's a fun time. It's definitely a fun time. And with Endeavor taking over, who knows what 2024 is going to look like with UFC and Endeavor and WWE and all that kind of stuff, you know? So, yeah, we could be on the verge of something quite exciting. I suppose the downer is that there are a few big shows still to come this year, but there's not that big show. I mean, there is Survivor Series, but it's not the same. Not SummerSlam. It's not WrestleMania. It's not one of those. Like, I keep saying it, but I would love for us to be a few months away from a WrestleMania size show. I'd love for us to be a few months away from like a SummerSlam type show. But unfortunately, we're not. So, you know, it kind of feels like we'll work our way through the rest of the year. I'm sure there's going to be some good stuff, some twists, turns, good stories, whatever. And then obviously we'll get to the Royal Rumble and we're on the road to WrestleMania 40, which will more than make up for not having a big show right now. That show is going to be huge, man. WrestleMania 40 is going to be monstrous. That's going to be massive. Anniversary of WrestleMania. I went to the pub to watch WrestleMania 30. It was incredible. I really loved that show overall. I think it's a really great WrestleMania, and I think Triple H will try to deliver a WrestleMania that's equally as special. And I don't know, is that where the story gets finished? It feels like it should be, but The Rock might get in the way now. And so we might have to wait that little bit longer. Kojiko said, one time I farted so long, I was surprised that my butt didn't have to stop and catch its breath. Kojiko does love his farts and farts conversation. God bless you, my friend. Big Time Baxter said, Daze, PW Insider reported that if SmackDown moves to Amazon, it's WWE jeopardizing their reach for giant money. As a result, SmackDown will very likely do Raw numbers. Well, would we see those numbers? Do Amazon actually post their numbers? Would we even know what those numbers are? I mean, it is true. It's true. We've spoke about this. Like, if you're on TV, you will always get people that are flicking the channels, and someone might catch their eye, or people that are into wrestling, like just flicking, bang. Oh, the wrestling's on. Let's watch this. You don't get that with Amazon. I mean, unless you can find a way of like really having it front and center every week on the homepage, catching everyone's attention. I mean, the footfall of people that go onto Amazon must be huge. And so, like, that, if you can get it front and center every single week, that would be interesting to know what the footfall would be like. But it's such I don't have those numbers. I don't know how many people go onto Amazon compared to how many lick through USA Network. I'd have no idea if they've tried it before and how successful it's been if you go really big with having WWE like live now, Raw, SmackDown on the homepage or whatever it might be whenever the shows are actually live. I don't know. Can you send out notifications? Can you send out like little email notifications? Like what extra little things could you do if you're on Amazon that you can't do if you're just on USA Network? I don't know. I would need to be in a meeting. I'd need to be in a room. I'd need a PowerPoint presentation. I'd need the ability to ask questions. And so unfortunately we're not privy to that. But yeah, I would expect the numbers to either hold or decrease if they were to go to Amazon. But it could be one of those where actually they go to Amazon, they end up with a 3.5 million. And we go, what? Huh? Where did that come from? And you go, well, yeah, if you think about it, think of the amount of people that use Amazon compared to the amount of people that watch USA Network, right? It's like, it's a completely different like stratosphere. It's a completely different amount of people. And so, of course, the ratings are going to be higher. But it's one of those where, like, until you actually see it, you're just speculating and kind of fumbling in the dark. So, but no, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see if they go to Amazon first. Dark Angel said WWE goes to a streaming service, viewership attendance will take a hit. There's a lot of people who aren't going to sub to a streaming service just to watch WWE. It would be good for AEW though. If it goes to Amazon, I wonder if it would also be streamed on Twitch like they do with Thursday Night Football. Dark Angel said instead of an app, WWE Network should be a TV channel. To Catch a Predator said, did you hear about that teacher who was dating a 13-year-old wrestling fan? Didn't, but I feel like you did because you've got it in your name. No, I didn't. Was that recently? How is that sort of like how big of a wrestling fan? I sort of feel like a teacher has been dating a 13-year-old, and you know this 13-year-old's probably got quite a few interests. So like just being into wrestling might only be one of them. So like they might be a wrestling fan, but it's probably not the only thing that defines them, if you know what I mean. So I the point I'm making is I don't know that would have been like news in the wrestling world. I kind of feel like that would just be news that a teacher was dating like a 13-year-old. Which, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. That's my tip of the day. Bunker said, are you doing Zhang versus Joe Joyce? Do you know what? I have not sat down and looked, but I'll be completely honest with you. I haven't sat down and looked to see what I'm doing this weekend. I've done no research or anything yet. So I did see adverts for Zhang and Joyce, and I'm very interested in looking at that. There is also a UFC show as well. So I'm not aware of anything else going on. I think it's either Joyce and Zhang or UFC. There may be a way of doing both. I'm not a fan of doing both, to be honest, just because sometimes the one gets in the way of the other. And more than that, it's really hard to like do the amount of research I do for two events, because normally the UFC have got like 12 or 13 fights. That's like 26 fighters that I need to look into. And that tends to take up my Thursdays. So trying to then do that and then research another 10 boxers is not an easy thing. That would be like 36 people I would have to research. So you sort of get a bit of an idea as to how much work's involved. It's not just a case of setting up the stream and doing it. Like, I don't want to sit here and have nothing to say because, you know, what would I talk about? The fight would be on. I'd be like, I don't know who these are. I don't know where they're from. I don't know anything about them. And that's not what I try to do. So I'll have to have a look at it and see, you know, the right way forwards. We might end up doing both if I can make it work. If I can make it work, I would try and do both. But we equally might have to choose one or the other. So we'll see. Thursday Night Football is streamed on Twitch for free. That could increase the audience, says the Beach Kevin. NFL tried going to a streaming service and it killed their ratings. They switched back quickly. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. You could probably read like some articles on that and the impact that had. That would give you an idea as to like, look, this is what they were doing on TV. As soon as they went over to a streaming service, this is what they did. I would imagine there is probably like a business breakdown out there of that. DraftKings said, it's true. I heard it on the news. It was in Kentucky. I think she groomed them on Twitter. Well, I've not heard about it. It's not reached me. So I can't say that I've heard about it. But as I said, if the kid was into a few things and one of them was wrestling, then I don't know if that would be strong enough for it to like hit the wrestling news, which is, you know, the kind of stuff that I tend to read most of. John said, what if NXT was sharing a steel cage with UFC, and what would WWE do with it whilst planning for it for NXT roster? What if they were sharing a steel cage with UFC? Well, I mean, all the NXT talent would be murdered. So that's what would happen. They'd all be murdered and there'd be no more NXT. Jim said WWE moving to Amazon would lead to an increase in traffic to illegal streaming sites. Oh. Jarrett said the reason why streaming is so hard for live TV for most regular people is because broadband, 4G and 5G. Oh, look, it's lag. We got lag now. Now we've got lag. Flipping FBI are shutting us down. Oh, well done, everyone. Well done. Great work, everyone. I'm just trying to sit here and stream NXT. Got people opening and pouring out their flipping personal stories about grooming. Jarrett says the reason... Oh, we read that one. Jim said if she was looking for virgin wrestling fans, she doesn't need to limit herself to school kids. No. Just look on X. Moutzer's lagging the stream, said Travis. Well, it's all right. We'll hold him. We'll hold him. I didn't order it. You're okay, said Q. I'm good. What do you mean order? Oh, I'm not going to. Come on, I'm not asking. Mention illegal streaming and Daze gets lag. Interesting. It's the Illuminati, man. They're watching us. They're watching us. Apparently, they watched Logan Paul videos together. Let's leave this topic. I don't think... Not a mega. If you Google Leon Phillips, you will see it in the States. Are we still on this topic? Are we still on this? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? What's going on? People forgot what we're here to do. We're watching NXT, you boomers. Brony said, Mouncer said, WWE are already trying to find creative for Jade Cargill on the main roster. Well, yeah, those rumors have been out there. It's not the way I would go, but listen, in Triple H, we trust. Is Triple H's shine just starting to diminish a little bit, do you think? Don't know. Like, he's been putting on some really good pay-per-views. But I don't know, is there a few things happening that people are maybe like, a couple of Raw ratings coming out that are a bit, you know? Like the Bloodline story, is that still where it should be? Is Judgment Day where it should be? Is Cody doing what he should be doing? You know, is all of that people like thrilled about Nia Jax? I mean, I am. But I sense that there's quite a few people that aren't. I don't know. It felt like people were a lot more like, you know, Team Triple H, like this time last year. Kind of, I think the honeymoon period has kind of gone now, which, I mean, in all fairness, that honeymoon period lasted quite a while, in all fairness. And I think now that he's kind of going up against himself, now that he's going year on year against himself and not some, like, you know, out of touch, like, evil overlord, he is, like, you know, now starting to struggle a little bit. Do you think NXT will go back to black and gold, said WWE 26? No, I don't. I don't think it will, because I think that when Vince left, and he, to my knowledge, did leave because he went off to sell the company, basically, and have those meetings. And as far as I know, like, he went and traveled. I mean, he spoke about going to Italy and all this kind of stuff. So he was out, you know, Steph was in charge, Nick Khan was in charge, Triple H was looking after creative. Like, at that point, they could have done whatever they wanted. And they did change NXT 2.0. They changed it to its current version now, which isn't black and gold. It's more like, I don't know, black and white or something. But it's still great. It's still one of my favorite shows of the week, man. I really do enjoy where NXT is at the moment. But I think they had an opportunity to go back to black and gold, and they didn't do it. And to be honest, I don't think they should do it. I think that is an era. I think that that is like a time that was very special. And I think that it was more than just a logo. I mean, black and gold is the theme of the show. It's the like the kind of hazard tape kind of vibe. It's that era. And to be honest, that era has kind of gone. and it's not coming. The big thing, there's two things that I think changed with that, and the biggest one is that we stopped bringing in lots of indie talent. So when Black and Gold was kicking, like, we were bringing in some of the world's best indie talent. We were bringing in the likes of Kevin Owens, and we were bringing in the likes of Sami Zayn. Before that, we'd gone and got Cesaro. You know, we had Finn Balor come over from New Japan. We had, Johnny Gargano coming in. We had people coming in from Evolve, people coming in from Ring of Honor, people coming in from, like, some Mexican promotions, New Japan. We had people coming in from, like, little indie promotions all over the world. Whereas now they've very much changed their approach. And now they get athletes that have got no experience and they train them how to be wrestlers. So the thing is, Black and Gold, you are watching people that have got tons of experience, that have had tons of matches already, that know their craft, that are just learning how to wrestle a WWE style, and are just learning the WWE way of doing things. But actually, like, wrestling, how to be a wrestler or how to have a match, they know how to do it. They know the psychology of it. And that is why that era was so special. We went and got Adam Cole and put him into NXT. Adam Cole, right? And so he get Roderick Strong, got him, put him into NXT. And so, like, Tommaso Ciampa, all these people that were killing it on the indies. And so now that we've changed our approach, and we will still get some of that indie talent, we will still get some, but by and large, it's made up more now by athletes that have never wrestled before. So you are watching people that are starting from a much, much lower base, You're watching people having their first matches. Like, you're watching people that just lost in the ring and just don't know. Like, they're having to put all their attention into remembering the match, let alone interact with the crowds. Once you get good at it, not only can you remember the match, you can put little flourishes in the match to really, make the match even more compelling. Your facial expressions and all that kind of stuff, your selling, all of that stuff, as well as deliver the match that was planned. And you know when to interact with the crowds and make sure they're coming along in the ride as well, and know where the hard cam is so that you can make sure you present into that and hit all your times and know when to go to commercial and hit your big spots for commercial, so on, right? There's so much that you have to remember. And so, like, there's people that are having to, like, go through that process of putting these pieces together. Whereas when you had indie talent coming in, they already knew a good chunk of it. It was just finishing touches. We went from being a finishing school to a complete training facility from scratch. And that's why Black and Golds can't come back, because you would have to recruit completely different experience level to bring Black and Gold back. So, we've just got to make the best of what we're doing now. And I genuinely think this is the best of what we've got. Like, we've got a system now where we've got a lovely blend of experience. We've got a really nice blend of ability. As soon as people are ready to move on, there tends to be that next layer that can kind of fill. And so you've got this constant, like, flow of people at varying degrees of understanding and experience and ability. And so, like, I think we're in as good a place as we could hope to be, with some good booking, some great matches, some decent fun personalities. I really like Metaphor. I really like Noam Dar. I think they're doing some really fun stuff. I think Lyra Valkyria's fun. I think Joe Gacy has got so much potential. I'm really excited to see what we do with him. Ilya Dragunov, I just don't know if I've ever seen a bad Ilya Dragunov match. Really rate Ilya Dragunov. And you can just go through a long list of, like, well, I like this, I like that, this is good, that's good. So for me, like, you had Black and Golds. We kind of took a bit of a dip during the pandemic. I thought we really suffered during that time. But, we held it together. Then we flipping went to 2.0, which I really did start struggling with. Went to 2.0. I took a break from NXT at that point because it was just a lot of people that needed to learn. And as much as you can kind of go, look, I'm going to cut them some slack, they need to learn whatever. when a promotion that you've been watching and have been watching for a long time, like really goes like south like that, really starts struggling, doesn't become recognizable, it's like a different promotion. I think it was good of me to take that break. I don't regret doing it. I just stepped away for a bit. And then I came back, watched the show, and I was like, oh man, yeah, they're there now. They've got some good players now. Like that talent has caught up. And so we started watching it, and it just has got, over the past 12 months, stronger and stronger and stronger. And now it's to the point where I think a lot of people would say it's their favorite wrestling show of the year, of the week. And so, yeah, it's honestly, I look forward to Tuesdays. Big Time said, did you believe in the hype for many years that Triple H should have been in charge of creative? No, I didn't, to be honest, because I'm not someone that, joking aside, was like down on Vince and Vince's creative. Like, I think that I look at Vince as the person that gave me pretty much everything that I love about wrestling. You know, Vince took wrestling from the halls, if you will, right? There were big shows, of course, Starrcade, all that stuff, right? You can't say that they were just in bingo halls before Vince. That's not true. But, you know, there was Showdown at Shea, for example. Even WWE were doing big shows before Vince came along and bought the company. But I think what Vince did was he made it more for the casual fan. He made it more mainstream. Like, he made it more cartoony, more accessible for kids. He made it like more family orientated, and big characters, larger than life personalities. And that was the direction that Vince went in, and people were against it at the time. There was a lot of backlash at the time. People thought that this was like, you know, a disgrace to wrestling, and it wasn't real wrestling. And it was like, you know, there was some people were horrified. A lot of people that were old timers did not like what Vince was doing. And he was making it like wacky, basically wacky and all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't the holds and the grappling and the, you know, that wrestling had been. It was more show now. It wasn't as much steak. There was a lot more sizzle. And people were against it, but Vince gave me everything I loved. I mean, I loved some of the stuff before Vince. I've got nothing but respect for Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, and, you know, what Ric Flair was doing outside of WWE and Terry Funk and blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, you think about Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man. You know, you think about, like, just WWE, WrestleMania, all your memories about WWE, it's all Vince. So the idea that we're going to, like, bin him off now... when he's still providing like stuff that I enjoy, I was never subscribed to that. But I really enjoyed NXT. I was excited about the day when Triple H would take over. I wasn't like down on Triple H taking over either. Looking at what he was doing with Black and Gold, I was like, yeah, man, when he takes over, it's going to be a good product. I'm excited to see how he will book it differently. I'm excited to see what he will do. But I was not campaigning to see Vince go. You know, just like now, if things start going... I think I'm that way with, like, football managers as well. Like, I'm not campaigning for Gareth Southgate to leave England. I'm not campaigning for Ten Hag to leave Man United. I wasn't campaigning for Vince to leave. I think, like, I'm quite loyal. I'm quite loyal. If you give me some good stuff and things that I enjoy, I will ride with you through the bad. I will stick with you through the bad. So, you know, Vince obviously was giving us some awful segments, but it didn't matter because I was still remembering the good times, and I knew that other good times would come as well. Right, NXT beginning. Bang. I think The Rock will face Roman, said Shift Gods. Triple H has always planned to be in creative, said Joe. Shift God said the bloodline story built around The Rock. Basically, Roman has to defeat the final boss. Okay, we are inside the arena. The NXT crowds are cheering away. The man's music is playing. They've got big time. Oh, there she is. NXT. NXT has made her way out. She's holding up that championship. We're starting big, man. We're starting big time. The man, Becky Lynch. Now, I've got to think that Tiffany Stratton is going to step up to her. I've got to think that Tiffany Stratton is going to be having something to say about what happened at the end of last week's show. So she was in Salt Lake City last night. Here she is now on NXT. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. Right, let's see what Big Time has got to say. Really exciting last week when she won that championship. Well, it was really good. Big, loud Becky chants. The man has come around. The man has come around. Johnny Cash. And the man comes around. NXT, 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 NXT. He says the world tour continues and we bring the fight. She going to defend tonight? She should defend tonight. Gigi Dolan, Elektra Lopez, Thea Hale, Roxanne Perez. I'll be here a while and I go the extra mile. He's trying to do a rhyme. I'm the mountain to climb. Welcome to the big time. I don't think that Sunny Wolf's position as head poet of the Wrestling Daze community is in any danger there, to be honest. But the NXT crowds are into it. She said it feels so good to be back. It feels so good to be back and representing you. Speaking of time. Tiffy time is over. Tiffy time is over. Becky time is the chant. So she's putting over Tiffany. Adam said No Mercy is 1 week from Saturday. Yeah, God, that's a problem as well. I think it goes up against something quite big. But we need to watch it, and I want to watch it. Here's Tiffany then. Tiffany making her way out. Excuse me. I've heard enough. I appreciate the flowers. Loud boos for Tiffany Stratton. Loud boos. I deserve a rematch. So Tiffany wants a rematch. Okay, so she's screaming at Becky. The big time versus the Tiffy time. Tonight? The big time versus the Tiffy time tonight? I knew you guys would love that. They're yesing away. Which is why it's not happening. Hang on, she just said it. She just said it. These losers cheered me every week until you came here. I want my rematch on a bigger stage. No mercy. Okay, so she wants the rematch at... didn't she say tonight, though? So Becky said the result will be the same. You can have the rematch when you want it, but the result will be the same. You've become entitled, says Becky. This NXT with these people has got the same feel as the NXT I came up in. I want it more than you do. You should be thanking me for your return to NXT. Don't mind this. Becky wears a diaper, says Michael. Breaking news. Gerald said, I don't know about Tiffany's promo delivery. It sounds robotic. Is it just me? No, her live promos have been a weakness. This is a little better, I would say. I feel like there's a bit of a more of a mixture here. Bit of shouting, little bit of quiet delivery. Becky nails Tiffany. Becky with some shots. Hello, who's that from behind? Is that Kiana James? Kiana James from behind attacking big time. Kiana and Tiffany working together. Kiana holding big time. Tiffany getting a chair. Oh, I thought she was going to hit Kiana with it. Becky fighting back. So Becky manages to chase both out the ring with a chair. That was okay. I'm a bit confused as to what it's led to, though. Are we getting Tiffany No Mercy? I don't know. Backstage, we've got Tony and Stax. Okay, they're trying to figure out who they should be defending against. Okay, they're talking about eating. Okay, they're talking about the creeds. Los Lotharios. I don't think they're called that now, are they? It's just Angel and Humberto. Don't know much about Nima and Price. Who wants it more? Okay. Oh, here's Elia. Yeah, that was great. Elia's match last week. Oof. Oof. Elia. I'm still suffering. Yeah, Wes walked out last week, didn't he? The Mad Dragon will cover his waist in gold. Ilya coming for that title at No Mercy. Oh, it's big time. Tiffany. You want to go 2-on-1? Damn! Handicap match in the main event. Becky proposes a handicap match. 2-on-1. Okay, metaphor. Oh, Matrix theme. Ah, very good. Do you remember last week it was Safari? This week it's Matrix theme. God bless them. I love metaphor, said Gerald. I love metaphor as well. Okay, so they were talking, but they've been interrupted by Butch from SmackDown. It's Butch. I tell you what, flipping NXT's become Forbidden Door, isn't it? We got Butch from SmackDown. We got Becky from Raw. We got NXT talent around. It's all flipping happening. On the table were like a box of red pills and a box of blue pills. Right, we've gone to commercial break. Booker T looks high, says Michael. The Way were better than Metaphor. Oh, yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't know if anyone else does, but I love Metaphor, said WWE AEW fan. Same. Neo-Dar. Very good, erase your mind. Neo-Dar. So, Tyler Bate against Butch is going to start things off. We open with a Becky Lynch segment and might be heading to a handicap match. Now, this is where it gets tricky because I really don't think Becky should be beating 2 NXT talents on her own. I think she has to lose that match. If it is a handicap match, she has to lose it. I actually think if it's a handicap match, we might even have to do whereby someone's going to come and be a partner. It's going to be Lyra in it. It's definitely Lyra. It's definitely Lyra. So it's going to be a tag match. Lyra's going to be involved. Go up to Becky and say, you can't fight that fight on your own. I'll be your partner. Becky will be like, no, I can do it by myself. Blah, 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 blah. I don't need no help. I appreciate it, but they need to learn a lesson. And then, like, the match starts. Becky starts losing. Lyra comes out. Becky makes the tag. Lyra gets the hot tag. Blah, blah, blah. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. Metaphor is better than Hit Row. Hit Row. Definitely. Don't take the blue pill before your match, says it depends who you're wrestling with, mate. Depends who you're wrestling with and how you're wrestling. That's all I'm gonna say. Pete said this is a flashback to the UK Championship. Very much so. And they banged, man. Them matches banged. These two know each other. They've got such incredible chemistry. Do you remember their match from like 2017 TakeOver, I think Chicago, which I think was my favorite match of 2017. I mean, it was just incredible. JR was on commentary and he had a word with them before he went out. He was like, look, this is such a big match for me. I don't get to commentate on matches. Don't let me down, kind of a thing. They went out there and just flipping ripped it up, man. They just went out there and ripped it up. So good. If you've not seen it, definitely search for it on the network and give it a watch. I don't know that this is going to get to that same level, but I'm sure this is still going to be a great contest. Just call him Pete Dunne and give him his old theme, says Prince Moolah. WWE needs to bring back the Cruiserweight Championship, says Oblong Box. WWE 26 said banger after banger after banger after banger after banger after. K-pop said wrestlers like to bang. I was going to burn all the Batman stuff. I think I'll donate it away. Donate it. Adam said Fastlane is a week after NXT. No mercy. Gonna be busy. Busy little period coming up. I'm all right with that. All right with that. I mean, we can do like No Mercy. I mean, I've got a feeling it's on the same night as Summit Big though. Summit Big. I did put that in my like little agenda. I remember it clashing. I remember being like, oh, why is it up against that? Of all the things, why is it up against that? Oh, hello, Trick Williams. I was just about to have a look, but I can't. We're back. Right, Trick Williams and Dominik are backstage. I'm glad I ran into you. But that makes one of us. I know how you feel. I had to live in my dad's shadow. Can't fit in no shadow. I ain't built like that. No one will drive a wedge between Trick Mello gang. But Dominik said, I used to say the same about my dad. Well, there we go. Dominik just causing a little bit of trouble. Trick could, I mean, like, Trick could really be some, could really be some. He can talk. He's got a great look. He's got a good height and size to him. Okay, here's Tyler Bate. Tyler. Tyler Bate versus Butch. I want to see a little person match with power bombs. 5 suplexes and 5-star splash, says Michael. Official Lynch versus Stratus at No Mercy. Becky 100% finding partner, brackets Lyra. Here's Tyler. Tyler waving to people in the crowds. Butch is in the ring staring at Tyler. These two know each other very well, and they lock up. Tyler Bate goes down, and Butch working on the arm. Tyler getting back up to his feet. Tyler Bate with a side headlock, and down goes Tyler. Again, Butch working on the arm, pulling back on the arm. And again, going for that joint manipulation, pulling back on the fingers. Handing away, throwing back some shots. We get a shot of Metaphor watching on. Butch getting back up to his feet as, again, he's working on that arm, middle of the ring. Tyler Bate. Oh, lovely. Great takedown by Tyler Bate. Hip up. Slap coming in. Tyler was looking for bop bang. But Butch with a slap there to Tyler. I like that from Butch. Butch went, The classic Butch move, that is a shrug of the shoulders. Butch going against the ropes. Tyler over the top. There's bot bang. Boom. 2. Shoulder up by Butch. Yeah, man. This. They've got such great chemistry together. This could be really good. Coach Co said, shopping item toilet paper took a doo-doo now. I'm sitting on my eating vegetables with the handle on. You don't know what I mean, but it does make sense. Thank you. I mean, I don't know what you mean. Oh, shipping item toilet paper. Shipping item toilet paper. Took a doo-doo, sitting on eating vegetables with a handle on. You don't know what I mean, but it does make sense. Coach, shout out to you. Wrestlani said, do you think Kiana could get a title push? Yes. I don't quite see it yet, to be honest. I mean, I just don't know quite what her character is at the moment. She had the office and she was like a businesswoman with a personal assistant, but we seem to have moved away from that. She's still kind of carrying the bag down to the ring and kind of having a little bit of that, but we don't tend to see it so much outside of the ring now. So her character feels like it's got a little weaker to me. Do you remember when she was like buying the bar from Fallon Henley and like she was tag partners with Fallon Henley and trying to get close to one of Briggs and Jensen? I forget which one. Like it sort of feels like we're a little bit of a way from that. But yeah, I could see her getting a title shot against Becky. Definitely. And eventually I could see her having that title. I mean, I think that they like her. She gets used a lot. They clearly see some in her. I just think her character's kind of settled down a little. Tyler in the corner, picking up Butch, looking for a superplex. Yes, no, yes, maybe, no, don't know, yes. Oh my God. He had him held up there for ages. 1, 2. That was, jeez. Tell you what, that takes some strength, that does. Takes some strength and some balance. I mean, he had him up like this. Delayed standing vertical suplex, but whilst balancing on ropes. He's like, I see your British Bulldog and I raise you. Very good. Amazing superplex, Federation Minds. Imagine if Noam Dar accidentally took a sleep-in pill before his big match and dropped to sleep and lost his cup at No Mercy. Imagine that, says Liv Morgan, New Jersey. Liv Morgan, New Jersey, shout out to you. Kashawn said, which match do you think is more beneficial, Roman Cody or Rock Roman? Rock Roman's more beneficial for that show. Long term, it might be that the Cody one is more beneficial. So it depends. Do you want to go long term or do you want to do short term? You want to just book that show? I mean, look, The Rock made a surprise appearance on SmackDown and it did 100 million views across social media. Can you imagine if you was to have The Rock wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, the kind of numbers that thing's going to do? Like, the kind of numbers that I just don't think you could ignore, to be honest. I just think they're too big. I just think the numbers involved would just be too big. You can put all the arguments forward you want about whatever you want, but with the numbers that we're talking about with that match and how it would play on social media and what it would mean for that show, and you know, I just don't think you could ignore it. But long term, having Cody go over Roman and Cody be the new face of the company and win the title at WrestleMania, finish the story, end Roman's title reign, start this new title reign, be the first Rhodes to win that title, like that would obviously have longer term repercussions. I mean, you could make the argument that a load of people would watch WrestleMania and some of them might stick around. but I'd feel fairly confident that you'd get a spike and it would definitely carry over for a bit. But once you fast forward a couple of months, I bet it goes right back to where it was. I bet we don't see any change once you do Rock Roman. Because I'm just judging that on the fact that we've done massive shows before and, you know, you get that little bump after, but it always settles back down again. So I think Rock Roman would be the one that they would just have to do. They would just have to do. It's too big. You're not going to turn The Rock down. Let's be honest. If The Rock's free, you went saying, no, we've got some other plans, unfortunately. That's just not going to happen. But I think having Cody finish the story and like building that up and not having anyone else around as a distraction, and really this is his time. Very Daniel Bryan, put obstacles in his way. You know, can he do it? Stack the deck against him. Blah 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 blah. He does it. You know, it'll feel very Daniel Bryan. WrestleMania. That's what you would hope to try and achieve. And actually, Triple H is well placed because he was firmly a part of that story. He had a front row seat for Daniel Bryan. He saw everything that went on and went into building that story. So he knows kind of what they did to, you know, fuel that Daniel Bryan hype. Slightly different. I think Cody's in a slightly different place. I think Daniel was seen as someone that didn't belong in the main event, whereas I think Cody is seen as someone that does. So a little bit different. You don't need to book it exactly the same, of course. But you do need to put obstacles in Cody's way and really stack the odds against him. You don't want to go into WrestleMania with everyone just going, yeah, Cody will win. Lovely. Belly to back suplex and a pin by Tyler. We are half an hour into the show. One match so far. Big Time said, how do you think WWE is going to do in the negotiations, justifying a giant increase for Raw? 205 a year currently was signed when Raw was doing 2.7 in 2018. Well, it depends, doesn't it? I don't know where they're going to be staying. I mean, even though they've had a decrease, everything's decreased. So you'd make the argument of what are you going to replace it with? If they walk away from the negotiating table because WWE want too much, what would they get that would get them those ratings? So I think that they're in quite a strong negotiating position. I wouldn't worry about that. The landscape has changed. Obviously, the TV company are going to, try and force, get the best deal they can. WWE are going to try and do the best deal they can. But it does, I mean, like, the pattern has been that the ratings been going down, but the money has been going up. Look at the speed of that airplane spin by Tyler Bate. Tyler picks up and, ooh, a bit of a brain buster, Brain buster by Tyler Bate, and Butch kicks out. Just managing to kick out. So crowd very much into this, applauding away. You can see the pained look on Butch's face. Slap coming in by... Oh, I like that. Time limit warning. There's 2 minutes left. I like that. I think one of the criticisms I had... Oh, my God. Wow. Bam. Powerbomb. Sit down powerbomb to Tyler Bate, but it was really short. Lovely counter by Tyler Bate. Is that a bitter end by Tyler? Tyler with a bitter end. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Pete. By Butch. Yeah, wow. I tell you what, we're getting some good. We're eating good now. Some really good action. Tyler Bate with a bitter end. NXT chants, crowd are enjoying it. Snap of the fingers by Tyler. Bop and bang by Pete Dunne. Against the top ropes. Big clothesline. Tyler going to the outsides. Climbing up. Getting ready. Oh, my God. Like a corkscrew plancher. Knees up there. Bitter ends. That might be it. Butch, 1, 2. Oh! Bam. Kick out. Wow. Really good action. Really good action. Again, we know that the time is counting down. Oh, there's the clock. 1, 2. Oh, Tyler loses with about 10 seconds left. Butch beats Tyler with only 10 seconds remaining of the time limit draw. Damn. Great match. Really enjoyable. Really enjoyable. So Butch has won Group A. So Butch qualifies. There's Tyler and Butch embrace him. ASC. Thea doesn't want to be a little kid anymore. So Thea and JC are going shopping at ASC. Stuff's just being thrown at Thea Hale. Okay, so we're watching like a flipping fashion show. Thea's not feeling comfortable. Is that like leopard snakeskin boots? Jace's having a great time. Jace's really enjoying herself. Okay. I feel like I'm watching flipping Barbie. What? That's the one. They found the one. All hail, Thea Hale. I can't wait for everyone to see the new and improved Thea Hale. So they've gone shopping. They've found the right outfit. And JC says, I can't wait for people to see the new and improved Thea Hale. Okay, coming up next, Duke Hudson. He's taking on Joe Coffey, I believe. That was a banger. Oblong Box said, I didn't see Butch winning that one. Duke Hudson is taking on Joe Coffey. Let's change this on screen. Coffee. Thea Hale is looking like Lacey Evans. Oh, I think she'd need more military get up to look like Lacey Evans. I was hoping she would try on a Wrestling Daze beanie. Oh, could you imagine if she came out with a fake little scruffy beard, black t-shirt, and a black kind of falling apart beanie? And she went, "Hi guys." Now that's really sexy. Oh, you want to get sexy? That right there, baby. Thea did not look comfortable in some of those outfits. I think there's probably a reason for that, Shadam. I think there's probably a good reason. Oblong Box said WWE hates to see their female wrestlers dressing unprovocatively. Yeah, you can tell Vince is back. God damn. Like, yeah, he's still channeling a little bit of Attitude Era, isn't he? Franklin said, Daze, is Braun Strowman and Ricochet the best made-up team they've ever recruited? If they were still together, would they call themselves the Power Trip 2? I don't think they're the best tag team that's been put together. Better than Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. better than the Mega Powers. Yeah, me and Wrestle with Andy did that. Oh, I think there's I mean, like, again, Hogan and Edge. That was another one. Even Braun and Nicholas. Saying it's better than Braun and Nicholas. No, man. I mean, what about the Bar as well? Sheamus and Cesaro were thrown together. They were the Bar. I think you've got to go a long way down the list till you get to Strowman and Ricochet for me. NXT moves at such a good pace, there is never a second that's wasted. Jim said, I don't understand why these matches are not under heritage rules. I think it's probably just time in it. I mean, the heritage rules match, isn't that like 6 rounds, 3 minutes around, or is it 5 minutes around? 3 or 5 minutes around. I think they probably just want something a bit quicker. I mean, it is true. Prove that you're the person worthy of competing for the Heritage Cup by having a load of matches that aren't heritage rules. It is very true. Big Time said all the boomers watching NXT were drooling over a 19-year-old in skimpy outfits. Phone the police. Guys, phone the police and report yourselves. I think she might be 20 now, though, but even so. Flipping disgrace. We need. Where's To Catch a Predator of now that we need? Come back. To Catch a Predator, come back. We want to report all of ourselves. NXT. Let's go. Brandon said, so far, NXT isn't surprising me. Is that something it should do? I mean, there might be something that surprises. Good opening match, though, weren't it? Wasn't that a good opening match? Weren't you surprised at some of the skimpy outfits they had the 20-year-old wearing? Just didn't that surprise you? I was surprised. Kashawn, have you heard that Rhea Ripley wants to wrestle in the men's division and face the likes of Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton? Good for her. Not a flipping chance. Thea Hale and Nathan Frazier are dating. How dare we look at overage ladies? Yes. What? No, I don't. No, because I don't like the alternative. So, overage is absolutely fine. Fill your boots. What can I ask? I don't even know what the legal age is in America, so I don't know. I mean, over here it would be fine, but I don't know what it is in America. I mean, you can't drink till you're 21, but are you saying that, like, you can have sexual relations? You can have sexual relations with someone, but you can't drink? In America? Is it 18? Don't know. Well, to be honest, when I go to America, I purposely just stay away from women. I stay away from everyone, actually. To be honest, they stay away from me. That's the truth, to be honest. Right, the viewing area. People are watching the action as we're underway with match number 2. Wrestler Andy said it'll be Scotland against England in the finals. Let's go. Has he won? He hasn't won, has he? Didn't Duke say that if he won, it was going to be a 3-way tie last week? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. And do you know what? Scotland. Would Scotland win it? You've already got Scotland. Scotland have got the flipping cup anyway. Shots coming into the midsection. You love your wrestling up there, don't you? Kick coming in there by Joe Coffey. And again, stomping away. Kicks coming in by Joe Coffey. Got Wolfgang. Gallus. That's ringside. In the corner goes Duke Hudson. 18. They can vote and they can and not boots, but they can't drink, says John. How old you got to be to have a gun? Can they have a gun? They can drive. They can have sexual experiences. They can vote. How old you got to be for a gun? But drinking is 21. Guzzling that Green Hornet, smoking that Green Hornet, very dranked, always lifted. Remember Coma Linda, best acting. Why not Oscar? Triple H pounds Steph. Sorry, very dranked. R.I.P. Hull. Thank you. Thank you. The age consent differs from state to state. 18 for a rifle, 21 for a handgun. What does that mean? She can walk around the streets with a rifle? People just walk down the road with a rifle on her back. That can't be right. Is it really? Do you know what? There's a shop down the road that sells guns. It's because I'm in the countryside, and so it's for, like, you know, keeping birds off farms. But it's so weird to think that just down the road I could buy a gun. I don't think I've ever seen any place that sold them. I saw one place in Birmingham that sold guns. And that was for, like, hunting. Other than that one place, I wouldn't have known where to go other than the internet. But I know there's a farm shop just down the road, and they have a few. 1, 2, 3. Duke Hudson wins. Duke Hudson picks up the dub. Dub Hudson. The bracket has been busted open. So now it is a 3-way tie. Joe Coffey, Nathan Fraser, Duke Hudson. No, it's a 3-way tie, not a 4-way tie. Duke one says Nathan Fraser. Oh, I'm 4 points. Triple threat next week is the only thing that makes sense. Bud. Whoa! Triple threat, not next week. Tonight. Tonight, I tell you. I'm just receiving words. It's not next week. It's tonight. Here's Roxanne Perez. Up tonight. Come up tonight. Roxanne Perez making her way down to the ring. We've just got big news. Triple threat tonight. Unbelievable scenes. What drama? Do you play Fortnite? I don't, unfortunately. I've never played Fortnite, you know. I've seen my cousin's kid play it. When I went round their house, he showed me. But I've never played it. Too good at it. Randy Orton was spotted at the Performance Center. Very good. Coach Co says, Soap and Water, a dynamic duo, so fine, scrubbing all the dirt, making germs decline. It's a simple task, but oh so grand. Let's sing and dance whilst we clean our hands. Jim said we need more Kelly Kincaid on NXT. Roxy Pops is my nickname that I use for her, says Liv Morgan. New Jersey. Gerald said, NXT's storytelling is so fluid. My World Cup final dream would be the country of Florida against England. That would be sick, actually. That would be sick. Florida versus England, World Cup final. Sick. And then Chelsea Green as the guest referee. Let's go. Jim, hope you are doing well. Wrestling said, when I was at Money in the Bank. Oh, here he is. Here he is. When I was at Money. Sorry, everyone. But when I went to the WWE pay-per-view. Excuse me, everyone, but when I was at the big important show. Yeah, what happened? Yeah. When I was at Money in the Bank, I had a Oh, God, it gets worse. When I went to the big show, I had 5 guys. Oh, did you? Did you? Oh, and I bet you had a nice time, didn't you? In the O2. And Kelly Kincaid was sat at the Oh, right, so you met her as well, did you? Jeez, when does it stop, Wrestle with Andy? When does it stop? Went to Money in the Bank, went to 5 guys, met Kelly Kincaid. Why was she there? Why was she there? Didn't know she would be there. I've never been to 5 guys, to be honest. I'd like to go. Some of us have never been. When it comes to walking down the street with a rifle, just because you can't afford a car, you don't have the right to be armed. What? When it comes to walking down the street with a rifle, just because you can't afford a car doesn't, I'm guessing, mean you don't have the right to be armed. Yeah, you Americans. What are you like? But why does Tiffany look like she's been tangoed? It's all that Florida sunshine, the country of Florida sunshine. Austin's Gameplay channel said, if you can marry any wrestler, who would it be? Mine would be Queen Candice LeRae, who I simp for. Well, you don't simp that much. Otherwise, it'd be in your profile name, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be called like Austin's Gameplay channel. You'd be Queen Candice LeRae's Stan account. That's what you'd be called. Just say, I'm just pointing out the obvious. Yeah, who would I don't know, actually. Who would I... Shh. Don't know. Feel like Lola Vice is probably going to be a big star in the future. She also looks quite violent, though, doesn't she? Don't know. If you could marry a WWE superstar, who would you marry? Fun little question. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez. Oh, I don't know, you know. Really don't know. See, I'm thinking I like Asuka. Like, I think she's fun. And I enjoy, like, watching her wrestle. So that could be fun. And she likes video games. The language thing would be a problem. But also, I think she's, like, getting towards the end of her career. You don't want to marry a WWE superstar and then shortly after they stop being a WWE superstar. Do you know what I mean? Like, then you're just married to a person. Ugh. Who wants that? Ugh. I think it'd probably be better to, like, go with a hot prospect from NXT, because then their chances are they're going to be in WWE for a little bit longer. But then saying that, they're always going to be on the road. Maybe it is better to marry someone that's going to retire soon, because then at least they'll be around. But do you want them around? Or do you just want complimentary tickets? It's a big decision, isn't it? It's a big decision. Match 3 is Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez. You can't have Candice anyway because she's already married. On Amber. What would Johnny Gargano do? Lola hurling Roxanne into the corner. I would go Nia Jax. Yes. Yes. Nia Jax. Terrifying. Roxanne working on the arm of Lola Vice. Chelsea Green. Yeah, I think she's married though. But I don't know if that does. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. That's a good shout. But she's funny. Should be fun. Chelsea Green's a good shout. Roxanne is from Texas, not the UK, says Liv Morgan. Asuka, Io, or Kyrie, says K-pop. I would marry Liv Morgan or Tiffany Stratton, says Michael. Shadam said Asuka's a good shout. Dean would go with Charlotte. Trini said Seth Rollins, because have you seen his daughter tonight in the NBEX t-shirt? She's a Seth copy and paste, but cuter. I haven't, no. Is this backstage? Gone what? You would get with Seth Rollins because the daughter is wearing what? Hang on, how does that make sense? Is that just like I would get with Seth Rollins, but also have you seen his daughter? Lola in the corner. European uppercut there by Roxanne Perez. Lola is on that bottom rope. Shots coming in there by Roxanne. Lola's a problem, man. I mean, she was like an MMA fighter. She's got great strikes. Lola working on the arm of Roxanne. I love the screaming there of Roxanne. I love the selling of the arm there. She ducks underneath. Kick coming in. Looking for pop rocks. No, couldn't get it. Arm drag. Lola goes down into a crossface. Couldn't quite get it as Roxanne reverses into a pin. 2, 3, and Roxanne gets the win. So Lola looked competitive, but Roxanne secured the win. Rob Bass, shout out to you, my friend. I hope you are well. Gerald said, referee Chelsea Green throws a red flag in the World Cup. According to her, she wanted to challenge the ruling of a made basket. Yeah, I think we've got a whole lot of different sports going on there. Whole lot of different sports. That is the kind of thing that Chelsea Green would do. I think Chelsea Green would be the one that I would marry now that I've considered all options after reading what you lot have put. I think Chelsea Green would be the way, because she's funny, man. Do you know what I mean? Personality means so much more than looks, but she's got both. Fine, let's go. The love of your life, Linda, was on Fox Business talking about the auto workers' strikes. I have no idea, says John. Well, I do love Linda. That's undeniable. But when she does go off on like the politics side, do you know what I mean? That's not much fun there. Not much fun. I don't actually listen to her political views. I'm sure they're great, but I would much rather have the kind of fun conversations I'd be having with Chelsea Green rather than political conversations with Linda in my spare time, to be honest. So I'm sure she makes a lot of sense. I'm sure she could fix this broken world. I've no doubt about that. But she's not someone that I listen to when it comes to political discourse. I listen to my mum. That's who I listen to. My mum tells me what I should think. Jadam said, Kathy Kelly feels like wifey material. Albafire, Isla Dawn, Io if she was a face. Michin's taken. Tegan, Zelina, Ulisa, and Valentina are all good shouts. Oblonbot said, I don't give a damn what anyone says. Valerie Laredo has transitioned into professional wrestling 1,000% better than Ronda Rousey had when she first came out. Liv Morgan said, Daze, when do you think the My Hole of Nia Jax returns? When do I think she'll say, My Hole? I don't know that she will. There might be a cheeky little reference in there at some point. Might be a cheeky little reference. But, I don't know. We might never get another of... At least we had that one moment that we can always go back and replay. But, yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath for another My Hole reference. My Hole! Wrestle Andy said I'd go with Helen Hart. I wouldn't go with Helen Hart. She throws the towel in. Do you know what I mean? She's a quitter. Don't want that, do you, at key moments? Watch out for Jade Cargill, says Mr. Quake. She coming round? Justin said, it goes Liv, Alexa, Io, Raquel, Bianca. Bianca's a good shout, actually. But she is taken. I don't know how much the taken thing matters. I mean, it probably does to them, but not so much to me. Michael said, the question was, who would you marry? Not who would you marry if they were not married? Oh. Are you sure? Are you sure that was the question? Well, I don't know who's not married. I don't know the comings and the goings of these people. That would mean me knowing what's going on in their personal lives. I don't know what's going on in their personal lives. I think Chelsea's married. And obviously we know, like, Becky's married and Bianca's married. What, is Asuka married? Does anyone know if Asuka's married? I don't know if Asuka's married. Is Kairi Sane? Oh, Kairi Sane, I think, did get married, didn't she? Did she? I think she did. I think she did. Raquel, she was seeing Braun. Oh, I don't know. That's too messy. I don't know the personal lives of these people. I'm out. I'm not playing. Bad enough now. I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. Right, here is Eddie Thorpe. He's upset because a tree's wounded. He's upset at the broken tree. You coward. You coward. You tree mutilator. You've insulted my culture and my people. Oh, baby. Strap match. Let's go. Here's Becky. Lyra. Where is she? Oh, Roxanne. The hell of a battle. NXT. I was letting people walk all over me, says Roxanne. Don't have to fight him alone. Let me be your tag partner. Got busted arm. They don't call me the man for nothing. So Roxanne offers her services. When it's pointed out that her arm's all messed up, her shoulder's messed up, she goes, yeah, right then. Okay, yeah, you're probably right. Nah, I just wanted to offer. Just so that I felt like I'd offered. I don't really want to fight. Right, here is Dirty Dominik Mysterio. North American champion taking on NXT champion. Dominik Mysterio versus Carmelo Hayes. I need Becky's new t-shirt, says Scottish Nightmare. Check Becky's post with Roebuck, said Trini. Fine. Better be good, though. Becky Lynch. Becky. I'm not a woman, am I? Why am I going to look at this and feel? I'm just going to be like, boomer and a kid in it. There you go, look. Doesn't even fit her, does it? Could have got her like a kid size. Do they not do kid sizes? Flips going on. What's she got in her hand as well? Not the doll, but there's like, oh, is that maybe a bottle for the doll, do you think? Do you think you use the bottle? I wonder how long it's going to be till we see her in NXT, this little one. There we go. Right, we're underway. Come on. Mess them up. That's pain, suffering. She is cute, to be fair. Robux is blooming adorable. I would marry Maxine Dupree or Jackie Redmond, said Hawkins Jr. I want his sperm, says Trini. Is that your chat up line? Do you like go into bars and say that to people? I think you can do better than that. Chop coming in there by Carmelo Hayes. It's a Lily doll. Big back body drop. I think they're gone now. I think they're done. Carmelo going over, grabbing Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom going face first into the corner. I ain't gonna lie, Nikki Cross is kind of cute. I dig that crazy, said Justin. She's married, I think, isn't she? Can't have her. Dominik on the outside. Carmelo going against the ropes. Underneath the bottom rope. Shot coming in there by Dominik. I'd take Kayla Braxton. This feels like we're dishing people out now. Anyone want Kayla Braxton? Anyone want Kayla? Right, next up we've got Megan Morant. Anyone want Megan? Megan? See one at the back over there for a Megan. You want Megan as well? 5 and 5 and 6 and 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10 over there at the back of the room. 11, 11, 12. Oh, the fadeaway. Imagine that as a pickup line. Coach Co said, I just sneezed and I think I tinkled my pants. Want to change me, Daze, says Coach Co. Mate, I'd love to change you. I'd love to change you with someone whose comments make sense. Ooh, baby! Dominik against the rope. Super kick there by Carmelo. Carmelo again, round the house. Oh. Down went Dominik. 1, 2, shoulder up. No mammy to save. Dirty Dom, there's no judgment day to save Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom in a whole world of pain. Kieran said, did you see the video on social media of Randy Orton? I didn't. My understanding is he's gone to the Performance Center, but no one knows why. So I believe they're doing trials, and like there's been a lot of people that have been getting like tryouts at the Performance Center. To be honest, it could be that he's working towards a return, or it could be that he's gone down to just help him out with the tryouts and just like, you know, do you want to come down and do something along those lines? So he went to the Performance Center and I don't know why. Megan is a kidney donor. She's a great woman. She's wife material. Well, you say that, but she's giving away a kidney. I want a woman that's got a kidney. I don't want one that's got no kidney. You know what I mean? I want a complete woman. Guys, it's one of the most important things in a woman is their kidneys. Yeah, remember that. Wrestle Danny said Nia is Becky's mystery partner. Let's go. Trini says, okay, be real. I'd marry Dirty Dom. No! Shut up! Shut up! No! Shut up! No! You wouldn't! You wouldn't! Did I read it right? I don't think I read it right. Let me read it again. Okay. To be real, I'd marry Dirty. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. What are you on about? Why have you come onto the internet and actually written that sentence? Why have you done that? Oh, you wouldn't. Stop going up to guys in bars and asking for their sperm and then going on the internet and writing that you would marry Dirty Dom. Like, stop being that person. You're choosing to be that person. No one's making you that person. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. Oh, I've got to try and finish this sentence, but I can't get past this bit. To be real, I'd marry Dirty Dom. I think even my hubby would approve. I could always say it's an adoption. So you would, like, get Dominik, bring him into your house, tell your husband you've adopted him, and then have your dirty way. Your dirty, seedy way. With someone that you've told your husband is an adopted son, basically. So you're saying that you would have your dirty, seedy way with your adopted son, who just happens to be dirty Dominik Mysterio. I mean, I can't find a single part of that is acceptable. Not one part of that is acceptable. Not a single part of that sentence can I hang a hat on and go, well, at least she said this. At least she did say this. Oh, it's dark. It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. I'm really sorry that we went there, to everyone in the chat. Shout out to everyone joining us. The streams aren't normally like this. And we do normally do halftime scores, but I was too horrified to get to them. What's your prediction for Man United versus Bayern? Is it at Old Trafford? I don't know where it is. If it's at Old Trafford, I'll say 2-1 Bayern. I think it'll be close. If it was a draw, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it'll be close. I think United will keep it tight. They'll be hard to break down. They'll have a game plan. They'll make it tricky. We know that United can absolutely botch it. They botched it against Brighton, but I think United probably fancied their chances against Brighton. Against Bayern, they'll know that they're going in second best. I don't think you go into a Brighton game thinking that you're second best. It's Brighton, right? I know they've had some great players. I know that they're playing some great football, but it's still Brighton. Man United shouldn't be going into a game with Brighton thinking they're second best. But against Bayern, you probably would. So, because we've been out the Champions League for so long. So I think that we will approach it differently. I think that we'll have a better mentality for it. We'll be in a better place for it. Doesn't mean we'll win. I'm not expecting a win, but I think a draw could be on the cards. So I'm going to say a draw or close. Watch us get smashed 4-0, 5-0 now. But my prediction would be 2-1 Bayern. 2-1 Bayern, but if it's a draw, I wouldn't be surprised. At least I made you laugh. Yeah, but I threw up in my mouth. I actually threw up in my mouth. I've got the taste of vomit in my mouth right now. Here comes the pin to Dirty Dom, shoulder up. Sonny says, hello, viewers. If you haven't yet checked out my book, I worked hard. The Thoughts Within, a collection of dirty pictures of dirty Dominik Mysterio. Trini might be tempted. Dirty pictures of her adopted son. Carmelo against the ropes. Here's Dirty Dom round the houses. Boom! 619. 619 from Dirty Dominik Mysterio. who tries to come crashing down onto Carmelo. Double knees. Dominik down on his hands and knees. Carmelo climbing up. Melo slips off the top, goes to the outsides. It's a competitive little contest, this, isn't it? It's certainly not going all Carmelo's way. Reversal. Oh, Dominik gets thrown into Ilya Dragunov. Dominik thrown into Ilya Dragunov. And that is not going to be well received, let me tell you. So, Dominik thrown into... Ilya's just getting... Dominik's going over. He's having... Oh, my God. Dominik slaps Ilya. Ilya's not going to take this disrespect. He starts screaming out there. Ilya gets into the ring. Oh, man. Ilya Dragunov. Oh, I love him. I love him. I love him. Ilya Dragunov's going to be my adopted son. Ilya charging over, collides into Carmelo. Doesn't care, does he? Doesn't matter. Yeah, he's out to cause harm to both. It's hardly like he just collided into his friend. Dragon Lee, super kick. So, is that a no contest? What's the official result of this? In the ring, we've got Carmelo and Ilya exchanging a few words. On the outside, we've got Dragon Lee and Dirty Dominik Mysterio. There was a whole lot of just stuff happening there, wasn't there? Here's Ava and Joe Gacy. You left your best friend in a bad spot. The loneliness is written all over you, says Ava. Our situation isn't too different from yours. I don't want nothing to do with your roots or your tree. Gang. People are trying to get between Trick Mello, gang. Okay, Duke Hudson is backstage, is a bit shattered here. It's a bit unfair that he's got to wrestle again on this same show, isn't it? Gotta understand. Duke Hudson says that Joe Coffey is bigger than an ox and Nathan Frazier is faster than Usain Bolt. It's going to be a challenge, this, for Duke Hudson. So Andre Chase is building up Duke Hudson. Okay, Duke Hudson's ready to go. Let's go. Making his way out to the ring. So I think that might be our next match now. This Nathan Frazier. Nathan Frazier The following is a tiebreaker match. Nathan Fraser versus Duke Hudson versus Joe Coffey. Let's go, Duke, said Gerald's. Do you know what? Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Who advances? Who is going to go on to face Butch? Is it Duke Hudson? Is it Nathan Fraser? Or is it Joe Coffey? Who advances? 34 years old, debuted in 2008, is in university, question mark. Oh. Who? Duke Hudson. Yep. Is their MVP. Let's not critique looks, please. Chances are you're sitting in your mom's basement with Yefret Daze. Yefret. What's Yefret? What's that? Yefret Daze meatloaf on your shirt. What's that? What's Yefret? To be honest, I don't know what meatloaf is. I like the look of it. Not finding anything. You Google meatloaf. To be honest, meatloaf looks awful. It looks really awful. At no point. Were you talking to me? Why did my phone just talk to me? She got interested when I was talking about meatloaf. Yeah, do you know, I've never had it in my life. Never had it, and it looks awful. Although this one looks like it's got some sort of sauce on the outside, and it looks a little bit better. I'll show you. Where's that? Classic meatloaf takes 1 hour, 5 minutes to prepare. Ah, that's got... Is that like a sauce on the outside? Like maybe a bit of a barbecue-y-like sauce? This classic meatloaf recipe is just like the traditional meatloaf that Grandma used to make. Well, my grandma never made it. 4.8 out of 5. 80 votes. Oh, hang on. I've got a picture maybe of the grandma. Oh, yeah, babe. Let's go. Let's go. Look at this cutie. Do you know what? You lot can keep your flipping Bianca Belairs. Oh, yeah, baby. Wow, chicka, wow, wow. Hey, Grandma. Mary's Nest. Oh, I'd like to be in Mary's Nest. Yeah. Hashtag Mary's Nest. I'd like to nestle in Mary. What? What? Go on, Mary. Meatloaf, 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 meatloaf. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Look at that cooking as well. 2 pounds of ground meat mixture. You've got your chuck, you've got your sirloin, you got your pork, you got your gravy, you got your turkey. It's just all chucked in, molded together in a really ugly looking slab, like something you'd build your house with. But it's a taste sensation. Do you know what I see there, lads? Do you know what I see? This is for the boys. Oh, the girls, stop listening. What I see there, lads, is I see dinner and dessert. Oh, yeah! Mary, 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 Mary. Ah! Let's go. Dinner and dessert, you say. Weird stream. Okay, we are in an alleyway. Why not? We got Nima, Price, Scripps. What are they doing? Just chucking money on the floor. What for? Rolling some dice. Is this like a fun night out in America? What's this? What's going on? Oh, man, should we go down the alleyway and roll the dice? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a fun night out. Why are they hanging around with scripts anyway? He looks so out of place. Do you know what? As a tag team, they could be good. I don't know about scripts, but these two. OTM. What's OTM? That their name? What's OTM? OTM. Oh, that section was brought to you by Wrestling Daze, the stream for those lonely nights. Here's Hank and Tank. We've got to turn it up and put the games aside. Hank and I have not missed many meals. Talking about, yeah, let's go. Right. Guys, please don't miss Ohio State, number 6, taking on Notre Dame at number 9 this Saturday, 7 Eastern. It's going to be a big game. You don't want to miss it. Everyone will be talking about it, and you won't be part of the conversation. Right, we are underway with the triple threat. Scripps had a bit of a rough upbringing, says Birdman. Right. OTM on their mother. Is that what it stands for? On the Mary. Go on, Mary. Go on, love. Hank Walker is going to dethrone Roman. Honestly. It looks like he should be working in real estate. Joe Coffey colliding into Nathan Frazier. Nia may not have been wrestling, but she has been eating some meatloaf, says Michael. Who's the better Duke? Duke Hudson or Duke the Dumpster Drozy? I would say that Duke Hudson's got a higher ceiling. But right now, he still hasn't got to the heights of Duke the Dumpster Drozy. Duke the Dumpster Drozy was on Raw. So factually right now, Duke the Dumpster Drozy is better. But I've got a feeling that when all is said and done, Duke Hudson may get a bit further. We're seeing Metaphor again with their Matrix theme. Winner of this is going to go on to compete against Butch. Clotheslines coming in there by Joe Coffey and Duke Hudson. Nathan Frazier is down. These two have already competed once tonight. Shots coming in there by Joe Coffey. And again, another shot coming in. So big time Bex open the show. And she should be in our main event tonight as well. I think it'll probably be the next match after this. Global Heritage Invitation. I think we've done all the advertised matches. Kick coming in there by Joe Coffey. I have before me a 100-pound block of Milky Way and cannot touch them because they're for trick and treat bags. It's got to be Nathan Frazier who wins this match because he's the only one who's fresh. It's a good point. Double drop kick. Duke Hudson. Joe Coffey goes to the outsides. Michael said, I want Invisible Cena versus Roman, WrestleMania 40. OTM, over the moon, says Brian. Suicide dive. Tope Suicida. So Nathan Frazier himself into Duke Hudson and into Joe Coffey. Nathan and Duke back in the ring, exchanging blows. I see you don't laugh too much. WrestleMania Dream Match, Mindy's Bakery versus Mary's Meatloaf. Let's go. Let's go. Shots coming in there by Duke and a shot coming back by Nathan. These two exchanging blows at the moment. Nathan backing up, looking to charge over towards Duke. Duke picking up, looking to slam down, and he does. Uranagi. Here's Joe Coffey, and he's pulling Duke Hudson. He's got his Duke's legs wrapped around the ring post. It's definitely going to be unpleasant as we go to commercial break. Shall we do halftime scores that aren't really halftime scores, but might as well do them just to get an idea as to what people are thinking? Let's go.
Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
Boom. They're lying to you. OTM means out the mud, said Alex. I don't know what OTM means. I'm not believing anything I'm being told. In my mind, it doesn't mean anything. It's just the name of their group. But I don't even know if that's the case. I'd have to go back and listen to what he said. He was like talking away, like, you know, rah, 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 and then he just went OTM. I was like, oh, is that the name of their group? What is this? What is it? I don't mind OTM as a group name. If it was to be that, it might just be the end of their promo. It might not actually mean anything. So it's hard to know how much to care. Big Time Baxter says 7. Kieran said 6.5. Nicole said 3 out of 4 tie scores. Q the Light Knight said 5.5. Gerald said kind of sort of halftime scores. Scottish Nightmare says 8. Ian said 7.75. Trini Forever a Firefly said 7.5. Brian 6.66. Number of the beast. Gerald said 7. Terry, shout out to you, said 6.5. Anthony with a 10. WWE AEW fans says 7. It's been a good show. Scott with a 6.75. Dead Man Talking with a 7. Tracy with a 7.5. William said, I need to make a halftime score video. Oh my God, that's such a good idea. Why don't community people make videos and send them in and I'll play them? Doesn't have to be me, does it? That's such a good idea. Why have we never done that? Oh, man. That is such a good idea. Everyone surely that's been joining us now knows the song. So why don't people make their own halftime score videos? I'll play them instead when it gets to halftime scores. William said, I would dress up like Daze and make up new words. What words? Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. OTM on the morrow, said Gerald's. So Anthony with a 10. Mr. Quake said 6.5. Alex said they mentioned Out the Mud and then they said OTM. Is that what? Is that the name of the group though? Does anyone know if this is the name of the group? Is that some of the kids are saying? Are the kids saying Out the Mud? Never heard this in my life. Kim said Matt Cardona apparently just killed Zack Ryder on his YouTube channel in a skit where he exploded in Vince's limo. Smurfy Toon said they could have been called over Married Tamina in honor of Reggie. They could have been called once Married Tamina in honor of Reggie. Virus says 7. Shaquem said 6. Trey said 7. Ray says 8. Alex says 4. It's great to have Discovery Plus, said Scottish Nightmare. Halftime bores. Nice. Full-time scores. I'll take that. Brilliant, said Gerald's. Order the meatloaf, said the Beach Kevin. Order the meatloaf. On the meatloaf. Let's go. STM, slap that meatloaf. Oh man, this is like the seediest stream we've done in a while. We need a meatloaf cover for the halftime score song. We do. It's been unfightful, but news is coming out that WWE is discussing big SmackDown talent appearing on Raw. USA is asking for a response. Well, good. Why didn't they do anything this week? Yeah, well, the problem they've got is that they're going up against this week after week after week, so it is going to be a little bit of a problem for them. Shots coming in there by Duke. Charges over, collides into Joe Coffey. Bang! Down goes Joe Coffey. 1, 2. Shoulder up. What would WWE do with Joe Hendry? Waste him, probably. Kick coming in there by Nathan Frazier. Springboards, moonsault. Double DDT by Nathan Frazier. 2. Oh, shoulder up. Now, Nathan looking for the pin on Duke Hudson, but he gets his shoulder up. Bang. NXT. Nathan Frazier. Oh, went to do that was good. Jumped up, went to go for a springboard, came back down again, dealt with the situation, went back up again. Had to have such good balance there, Nathan Frazier. That's a moment that didn't quite go right, but he was in total control of it. Really good. Nathan Frazier getting thrown by Duke Hudson. Joe Coffey round the back. Hudson against the ropes. Big boots. Now he's picking up Frazier. Plants Frazier down. 1, 2. Oh, shoulder up. Shoulder up. So let's wrap the poll up so that people can't cheat. Let's see if this community has called it. 43% Nathan Frazier, 39% Duke Hudson. So the community have gone with Nathan Frazier. 2. Joe Coffey makes the save. So people think it's between Nathan Frazier and Duke Hudson. Makes sense. What's Butch? Butch is Butch a face or a heel? I don't know. Think he's a face. Think he's a face. But I think Butch, you could put him in there against either a face or a heel, to be honest. To the outside goes Joe Coffey. Duke Hudson looking around at the crowds. Charging over. Ah, kick coming in there by Nathan Frazier. Frazier charging over, gets picked up. Oh my God, wow. Spiked. Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson was actually like that. Oh, now Frazier lands on top. Joe Coffey grabs him. Nathan Frazier gets thrown to the outside. Down he goes. Coffey. Oh, big clothesline. 1, 2, 3. Joe Coffey win. This community is a disgrace. Don't know anything about wrestling. It was Joe Coffey that won. Unbelievable. Call yourself wrestling fans. Only 16% of you went for Joe Coffey. We're just wasting our time here, aren't we? We're just wasting our time. We're meant to be the smart fans. Butch in the ring. Well done to that 16%. I've got a feeling that a lot of people in the chat now are going to claim that they were in that 16%. Yeah, I was one of the 16%. Stop judging me. I was one of them 16%. I would have, I would have gone Joe Coffey. I would have gone Joe Coffey. Okay, now we've got Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali said he's the rightful contender. It's true, actually. How does this make sense? Neither of these two individuals deserve to hold that prestigious title. It is true. I mean, it was a screwy finish, but he did beat Dragon Lee. So why is Dragon Lee getting a title shot next Monday? There's Kiana James. Iron sharpens iron, says Kiana. We're going to do some serious damage. Tiffany has got a little surprise for Becky. Becky is watching on. So coming up next, Becky versus Tiffany and Kiana. It's probably not going to go that way, is it? Okay. Bex versus Kiana and Tiffany. No, soon I get my Billie Eilish and inheritance money. I'm selling out if I don't get a new queen to share it with. Trini will be your new queen. Let's do some matchmaking. Trini will be your new queen. Did you hear that Randy Orton was spotted at the Performance Center? I did on this stream. I didn't hear it before. Hawkins Jr. says, Meatloaf scores. Everybody, it's the Meatloaf scores. I would take that. If people want to record and send it over to wrestlingdaze@gmail.com, the little video clip of them doing the halftime scores thing, I will gladly substitute that in and play it on a stream. It is time for the main event of the evening. Let's go. Let's go. William said, Trini is my queen. Defcon Prime said, the women's locker room cameraman is the best job in WWE. It may be a camera lady. I would like to think in this current climate it's a camera lady. But I agree. That is definitely the job that a lot of us hardcore perverts are waiting to become available. Day's new song, Meatloaf scores. Why did Jay have to lose? He hardly loses. I know everyone has to lose. Well, he had to lose because it was, first of all, he's not a singles wrestler, and so Drew is. So it would be quite a big loss for Drew to lose to Jay clean. But more than that, we needed to get over that Drew was a heel or is turning heel. And I said this last night, like, Jay decides he's going to stand up to Judgment Day. He's super kicking them, dealing with this problem, right? Super kicks to everyone. Boom, done. There's my answer. If Drew was a face, he would have shook Jay's hand and congratulated him on making a good decision. And then, you know, the match could have continued. Judgment Day probably would have got involved, of course, and it would have been a DQ, whatever. But either way, Drew wouldn't have jumped him. But he does, doesn't he? You know, rather than giving him that space or shaking his hand, he jumps him. So for me, that just strengthens the idea that Drew is taking and capitalizing on these moments. And it just adds to the fact that he is seemingly on a route to being a heel. So I think it works. I think it works. Jay losing and Drew attacking him. And then, of course, Drew kind of cementing that by deciding to not go back. So didn't have a problem with it. Drew Claymored the sweet life out of Jay. Ricky Starks has got some swagger, says Mr. Quake. Listen to Camel Toe by Matt Ruse. Okay. I mean, it might not be my go-to music, but thank you. Thank you for the recommendation. Buying local is buying watermelon wine or pumpkin whiskey. This Friday. It's kind of cheeky. They're sort of showing The Rock at the start of this, kind of maybe getting a bit of confusion as to whether he's going to be on the show. So Asuka challenges EO. Jimmy's going to be on the show. Live in Phoenix, Arizona this Friday. SmackDown. Smacky. Okay, so Briggs and Jensen are upset about Miles last week, who did betray them. Oh, here's Baron Corbin. This isn't high school. Does Baron not have a better physique? You're the guy that calls the locker room soft whilst getting a massage. Hello, something happened during commercial break. Carmelo. What's happening with Carmelo? It's going into the car park. Oh, that's never good news. I am the champ. At Great American Bash, I knocked him down. Oh, is that it? Just a few words. We're just getting word of something that's happened during the commercial break. Let's have a look. Just an interview. Next week, there's going to be a contract signing. We've got Trick versus Joe Gacy. Gigi Dolan against Blair Davenport. That's been building for a couple of weeks. And Eddie Thorpe takes on Dijak in a strap match. Main event time. Whoa. Joe Gacy against Trick Williams. Gigi Dolan against Blair Davenport. Have they done American Bash before? Because they barely do it, but they continue, as we know. They've done Great American Bash. Oh, there's an attack. So, Kiana and Tiffany attack big time. So this was the surprise. This was the surprise they had planned, a surprise attack. Surprise! Okay, Becky in the corner, she's being attacked by both. Here's Lyra. Clothesline. Down goes Kiana and Tiffany. When they face each other, that'll be a really good match, Becky versus Lyra. Tiffany and Kiana are like, nah, forget this. We didn't sign up for a tag match. We signed up for a handicap match. Becky and Lyra go after them, grab them, drag them back to the ring. We haven't had the bell. Becky chants. Becky getting into the ring, going over. She's got Kiana. The bell has sounded, so we are underway. I went to Lafayette, says Carmen Live, this past Friday and Saturday. For one of my sister's weddings, the one that's 31, 10 years older than me and got married. My two sisters are 23 and 33, didn't. Many congratulations to your sister, who's 31 and got married. Winner gets a seat at the D'Angelo table next week as Hank Walker So there'll be a match between, I think, Hank and Tank and Nima and Price. Winners will get at the table. Tony D'Angelo's table. Hagen-Dazs said, we want Jade Cargill. Roll up. Kick coming in there by Becky. Becky charging over, colliding into Tiffany. Lyra tagged into the ring. Tiffany going against the ropes. Leg sweep. Basement drop kick by Becky. Cover. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Don't need to... Dom needs to stop recruiting people for Judgment Day, says Kieran. Winner goes 1-on-1 with The Undertaker, says Gerald. Right. Lyra on her feet. Going back against the ropes. Through the legs. Bang. Face first. Down goes Kiana. Bex with the cover. Kick out there by Kiana. So Becky in there working. I mean, this is a great way of like using Becky and her star power and her experience. She's in there working with Kiana. She'll be working with Tiffany. She's tagging with Lyra. She pulls down that top rope. Kiana goes to the outside. Becky against the ropes. Wiping out Kiana James. Comes crashing down to the outside. Duck underneath by Big Time. Lyra goes through the ropes. Do you know what? Becky just jumped onto the edge of the ring. I'd love to have seen her, like, patting herself on the back, like a bit of a tribute, a bit of a nod of the cap to Tommaso Ciampa. If you've got a moment to jump on the edge of the ring down in NXT, that would just feel like the logical thing to do. That would have crossed my mind. If I was in Becky's shoes, I'd been like sat there on the edge of the ring. I definitely would have started patting myself on the back. I might have upset Tommaso. Stealing his thing, but it would be a tribute. It would have been a tribute. First of all, I'd be upset with myself that I was anywhere near a wrestling ring actually competing, to be honest. The Greedy Man and No Chin versus Tiffy and James, says Michael. No Chin? Is that Lyra? Lyra, No Chin, Valkyria? The wedding I attended was located at the Blessing Barn. Oh. In Lafayette, Indiana. The wedding rehearsal was on the 16th. Wedding reception at the Blessing Barn. Oh, that's nice. Carter Time said the Meatloaf had a family, but they were hungry. Michael, that's Barry Horowitz. Ira Nochin. Tiffany looks more like Meatloaf. None of them look like Meatloaf. Yeah, I don't know. This has been an all right episode of NXT. I think that we've had some good action. I think the show's been all right. I think that it makes sense that you would put Becky in a match that's going to show off 3 other NXT talents. I think there will be people watching this to see Becky. I would expect the numbers to be nowhere near last week. I wouldn't expect an 800 and something here. But if it turns out that this does, I don't know, 700, 720, something like that, I think it'll be above the 600s. I think it was probably in the 7s. Then these people are tuning in to see what's going to happen with Becky, and they're watching her competing in a tag match, being exposed to some other people. It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know if, does it, it's Becky in it. I was going to say, does it do much for people that watch every week? This sort of feels, I get why they're doing it. And actually, I'd like to see how Becky and Lyra work together as a team. But there's no long-term future for them as a team, is there? So it's not like, could these work as a team? They're going to team together, aren't they, in the future? Who knows? Maybe they will team a few times in the future if Lyra comes up to the main roster. But this does feel like a match really just to showcase the women's division or part of it. I heard that Meatloaf lunged at Tony Khan, said Carter Time. I heard Tony Khan feared for his life. He feared for his life. Get it? You get it? He feared for his life. I built that off your comment, Carter Time. That's a community joke right there. Chavez said Tony was going to eat some meatloaf, but he feared for his life. I heard that. Oh, we read that one. I'm booking my wedding at a 7-Eleven. Unlimited Slurpee box. Could you imagine if you could have a 7-Eleven wedding? How depressing. I feel like you probably could somewhere. Kick coming in. Kiana James goes down. Becky over to the corner, face first. Here's Tiffany. Tries to glide into the corner, but Big Time moves out the way. Tag is made. In comes Kiana. Kiana grabbing the leg of Becky. Elbow dropped. Tag made. In comes Lyra. Clothesline. Another clothesline. Kick coming in there by Lyra. And again. Look underneath. She's on the ropes. Crossbody. Down goes Tiffany and Kiana. Oh, my God. That kick is beautiful. Hit to the midsection. That one looked a little short. Love how explosive Lyra is. Like, some of the camera angles there don't look brilliant. Love that Northern Lights. And in comes Tiffany. Very explosive by Lyra Valkyria. I would say, like, obviously the women's division is in a great place, but I don't think we're looking at like the next Biancas and Charlottes and Beckys and Sashas, you know? I don't quite get that vibe from Kiana James, Tiffany Stratton. I like Lyra though. Lyra is climbing up. Becky over the other side. Leg drops onto the back of the heads. Lyra with the cover. Oh, kick out by Kiana. The wedding was at the Blessing Barn. And I saw. Lovely. Blessing Barn. Sounds lovely. Lyra Valkyria might be the best in-ring wrestler in NXT, said WWE AEW fan. The show's been good, said Dean. Here's Lyra going against the ropes. Here's Becky coming round, throwing in some shots to Tiffany. Becky going face first into the ring post. Kiana grabbing Lyra, picking her up. Ooh, looking for a powerbomb. Do you know what? She sort of had her upside down. Why don't we do that? Why don't we? 1, 2. Never really thought about that, but why does someone not do tombstone pole drivers, but the other way round? She sort of picked her up there, like in a tombstone position, but her opponent's head was facing outwards. You know, like with Undertaker, he used to have them facing towards him. They'd be upside down, he'd drop them down. If you spun them round and have them the other way around, you could then see them, like their face, like, no, no, no. Bang. Wonder why they don't do it that way around. Picking up. Kick coming into the midsection. Becky. Going for the cover. 1, 2. Count. The powerbomb from Kiana was beautiful, said Gerald. We've got an 8-minute overrun. 8 minutes left to go. This is pretty much a spot fest, said WWE fan. Kiana comes over. Big boot. I like Lyra's kicks. Oh. Lyra with a monster splash. Oh, and there we go. The pin and the win. So a big splash by Lyra picks up the victory for her. So it's a win for Becky and Lyra. Becky tried to get the pin on Kiana. She put on the disarmer. You see the Becky bottom. And then there was Lyra with a big splash. So Lyra gets the victory. Oh, Tiffany with a chair. Tiffany with a chair. Bang! Tiffany with a chair. Tiffany Stratton attacks after with a steel chair. She grabs the title, holds it up as Becky is down. Tiffany throws that women's championship on top of Becky. Lyra is down and out on the outside. Kiana's down and out on the outside. Tiffany's just leaving her where she lies. Here's Becky. Becky, get in the microphone. That's how you want to play. You and me, Extreme Rules. You and me, Extreme Rules. No mercy. Tiffany Stratton against Becky Lynch. No mercy, Extreme Rules. That escalated quickly, said Joe. There was a lot that we had to kind of shoehorn in there, weren't there? Yeah, Extreme Rules. I mean, that'll be fun. I don't mind that stipulation being added at all. Wasn't expecting that, said WWE AEW fan. No, same. I wasn't expecting it either. But no, I don't mind it. I'm certainly here for it. So, there we go. Let's get the poll up all time. For great. The 3 good. 2. Okay. Bias. What did you think of this week's NXT? Boom. Right, that's the show. 7.5 said WWE AEW fan. Yeah. I thought the show was okay. I thought there was some good action in there. Definitely worth a watch. I suppose we got that big announcement at the end, which was good. I think Becky against Tiffany at No Mercy was probably expected, but yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be an Extreme Rules match, so that's certainly a development. Great match between Tyler Bate and Butch. Kind of think this is a tricky little one to score. Sort of feels like it's a show that's building. I think probably build into No Mercy. So certainly not a disaster, but something that I couldn't say was like, oh yeah, you need to. Oh god, it was really good. I think it was solid. I suppose in a way, a little bit like Raw. Raw was solids. This was solids. Just solids. Wasn't bad. Solids. So I'm probably around that 6.5, 6.75 sort of. I'm in the sixes. I just can't quite figure out where yet. Brian is at 6.66, but Daniel's at 8.5. Shakeem said best show of the week. 7.5 says Erin Clark. 6 said Jordan. 7.5 says Tracy. 6 said Gerald. 7.5 says AB Jobson. Not better than last week, says Hawkins Jr. Carter said 7.25. The show was good. Great stream as always. When life gives you lemons, make lemonades. Good advice. Gerald said Mello versus Dom should have closed. Better match and go home angle. Mr. Quake says 6.5. Common Live said, I give NXT an 8. Scott with a 7. No Mercy this Saturday or 8-6. No, it's a week on Saturday, I believe. No Mercy. I'm at a 6.85, said Serious Gaming. Ooh, kinky. Mr. Quake said basketball, don't hold grudges. Breaking news. Seth said, can we look at AEW Grand Slam cards? Oh, I was meant to do that. Yes, I was meant to do that. Oh, do you know what? It's what I was meant to do on the web. And then we started looking at flipping movie trailers, didn't we? That's exactly what I meant to do on the web. AEW Grand Slam cards. What? Night 1, night 2? Oh, Rampage is having some stuff, is it? Lol. Lol to them trying to make Rampage, I think. Okay, so tomorrow we're back with AEW, and it is Grand Slam, and it is a pretty chunky show. We've got MJF against Samoa Joe. I'm Team Samoa Joe on that. I'd love to see Samoa Joe win that AEW World Championship. I don't think he does, of course, but I'd love to see him do it. AEW Women's Championship, Saraya against Toni Storm. Team Toni Storm, loving what she's doing at the moment. So I'd love to see Toni Storm win it. I think there is a chance that she could. I think Saraya won it because of being at Wembley. Maybe Toni gets it back here. So those are the two big championship matches. Then we got Chris Jericho against Sammy Guevara. I think the build for this has been all right, actually. I think the build for this has been quite good. You know, both of them are saying, like, bring your best. I want the best Jericho. And Jericho's like, I want this version of Sammy. I don't want the Sammy that was wearing the panda bear ears. So it's been quite good, actually. So I don't mind that match. I think Sammy has to win. Sammy has to emerge from Jericho's shadow. So hopefully it'll be a really good match and Sammy gets the win. Title versus title. Claudio against Eddie. I mean, the one thing I know here is that they don't like each other. This has been built over it's an ever-present feud. We've kind of leaned on this feud a few times. And they're going up against each other. Title versus title. I don't know which way it goes, but I don't even know who I want. I like them both. So I don't even know who I want there. That's going to be really interesting. And then we've got Jon Moxley versus Rey Fenix. I couldn't give a flip. I would struggle to care less about that match if I tried. But it's happening, and there will be people that are into it, and we will watch it and see how it plays out. Prediction-wise, I'll say Jon Moxley retains. But that's apparently the matches that have been announced for night 1. And then night 2, which is Rampage, is going to be Christian and Luchasaurus against Darby Allin and Sting. And then we've got Mogul Embassy taking on the Elites. They're putting the Elites onto Rampage September 22nd. Big move. That's a big play, you know, the Elites. That'll be interesting, actually, see what numbers Rampage does this week. But yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot that I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think it should be a decent little show, so certainly not down on that. So something to get excited for tomorrow. As we said, a pretty big show coming our way. Serious Gaming said, how do you feel about MJF's title run? I didn't think that it was really anything special for the majority of it. I would say that it wasn't until we got to the Adam Cole feud that it felt like we was actually doing something. There was some storylines and there was something happening. I think where he was getting like Daniel Bryan to like, wasn't that a thing he was doing a lot, quite often, like beat all these people and then you can have a shot at the title. I've said before, I think he's a very good promo. I mean, it's undeniable that he's a good promo. It's undeniable that he can talk, right? No one would ever be stupid enough to say that he can't. But I do find that a lot of the hype around him is bigger than what I watch. I watch him and I watch him talk and I see all the fallout of like, this guy's amazing, all that kind of stuff. I just find that he's got about 5 minutes of content when he's having to fill about 15 minutes. And some of the stuff that he says, I think can be a little bit just really childish. Some of the stuff isn't for me. But listen, people lap it up, man. People lap it up. People absolutely love it. I am not a massive fan of him as a face. I think he's much better as a heel. I think that it's a shame that they use him as much as they do, in the sense of, I don't think it's his fault that he has to fill 15 minutes. I think that they need him because they are struggling with star power. So in order to get from hour 1 to hour 2, they have him come out with like 10 minutes to go. And then he's still out there like 5 past, going towards 10 past. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that he does is just pretty run of the mill, whatever. And then there'll be about 5 minutes in there that you like, yeah, that was good. So I'm not blaming him for that. I'm saying that it's just a situation he finds himself in where he talks and has to fill time, you know? And I feel a bit sorry for him for that. So he's undeniably a great talker, undeniably got great delivery, undeniably got some great lines. But I can't ignore like the fact that there's a lot of waffle in there, and I can't ignore the fact that there's a lot of like lines that get said that just sort of like roll my eyes at. I do find that there's a lot of hype around MJF, a lot of hype that doesn't quite land for me all the time. And I look at someone like Samoa Joe, who is just a badass. He's just a badass, man. He just comes to the ring and he just looks the part. He's mean. You look at him, he wrestles mean, he looks mean, he sounds mean. Just everything about him screams like world champion, bad man. And I really like Samoa Joe. I've always had a soft spot for Samoa Joe. I liked him in WWE. I liked him when he was in NXT. I had high hopes for him when he came to the main roster. I was disappointed with how he was used on the main roster. And I still don't know why he went on to commentary during like the lockdown kind of periods. I thought that he was injured and there was no way of him like wrestling. But then he went down to NXT and I'm sure he started to have matches. And now he's gone to AEW and having matches doesn't seem to be a problem at all. So I think they probably looked at him and just thought like, nah, we don't fancy it. I think there was probably some of that in WWE, which I think was a real shame. I rate him. I like him. I would love to see. I'd love to see a world title run for Samoa Joe. I think MJF is going to be used whether he's got the belt or hasn't got the belt. But you could make the argument that for MJF to get to that next level, he's got to be the champ. He's got to have a long reign. Look what it's done for Roman. Blah 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 blah. I couldn't argue with that. I think that's perfectly acceptable. And I think it will be MJF that retains. But yeah, I think his title reign so far is I ain't the same as everyone else. I ain't giddy about it. I think that the Adam Cole feuds, even that's had missteps for me. Even that, the whole bickering over being friends, I just think has been flat. I just don't care. I just don't buy into this friendship thing. I don't care about this friendship thing. And so, yeah, it feels like it's a journey that people are on, and I'm not quite on it with them. Yeah. So I know that sounds like I'm down on MJF, but I do want to stress he's a great promo. He can talk. He's got great delivery, right? He's shown that he can go in the ring. Like, he deserves his flowers for many, many reasons. But I do think that the hype is a bit OTT. And then, as we said, the Tony Storm Saraya match. I think Tony Storm's got a chance of getting the title there. Jericho against Sammy Guevara. Hopefully that'll bang. Hopefully that'll be good. Sammy should get the win there. Claudio against Eddie, I think, is really hard to call. I think it's really hard to predict on that one, Claudio against Eddie. Don't know on that. It's a tricky one. Because I feel like you could go with Eddie, but then I feel like you could go with Claudio as well, who's part of the Blackpool Combat Club, and they've got some momentum. So that is a tricky one. And then John Moxley against Rey Fenix. I don't think they're going to put the international title on Rey Fenix. John Moxley is one of their big stars. I think they'll probably just leave it on John Moxley. So I think John Moxley will probably just win. But I like the card, man. Yeah, I think it looks all right. Horror King Mayhem said, why did Dominik Mysterio ask people to join Judgment Day, but they haven't let JD McDonough join? He helped them win gold and beat them up. Why did he? I don't know. I think that he is open for JD McDonough joining, but I don't think everyone's quite on the same page yet. You know, even Damian said that he wanted Jay to join because the Judgment Day were interested in getting one of the Usos, and he said a lot of them were looking at Jimmy over on SmackDown. I think he said like Finn was talking to Jimmy. but Damien wanted Jay, and he said, "Don't make me look bad." So I don't know if it would have been just like say yes and you're in. There may have been a bit of a conversation about it, but yeah, JD it seems to be struggling, doesn't he, getting into the Judgment Day? Dominik, I think, would say yes. Damien seems to have a few concerns. But then saying that, JD got him that Money in the Bank briefcase, didn't he? And I think he's kind of softened a little bit. So there was no JD on Raw this week, though. I don't remember seeing him at all. So maybe we're just kind of putting that on hold for a little bit. So we may pick it up next week. Serious Gaming said, are the Blackpool Combat Club faces or heels? It's a bit confused. I agree with that. It is a bit confused. And I'm a bit confused as to how much we're pushing them and what we're doing with them. So it does make it a little bit tricky, to be honest. But I need to go and run away and do the recap video. So I hope people enjoyed this week's NXT. We can get our teeth into AEW tomorrow, flesh out some of those conversations, have new conversations, have different conversations, see what the wrestling landscape looks like tomorrow. We can be back and we can be doing that, and we will be back and we will be doing that this time tomorrow for Grand Slam, which, as we said, should be a pretty tasty little show. So thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate the support as always, and hopefully see you again next